base impedance of space-time, sure. Or free,
Right
not
hand
even space-time.
found.
No,
Okay.
hold on. I will
Okay.
take back space-time. I will say the impedance of free space, because that's less controversial. You can measure that.
Okay.
Light
Yeah. Thank you.
requires impedance, and free space has impedance, so far as we can tell. It doesn't need other material or matter in that free space to transmit electromagnetic waves.
Okay. Thank you. So I guess that impedance is some sort of medium, perhaps.
No,
Is
that
it
impedance is a
categorize it as a
quality.
medium?
That impedance is a value, as a property of what mainstream science calls free space. And then other people might come in and they'll say, well, free space, that's just ether. But then they'll add other qualities to it that, in my opinion, have not been measured yet. And my research, that they haven't measured those other qualities. All we've measured is the impedance of free space. And that's just like, in my view, the base level value, the lowest possible value of impedance in this universe.
Interesting. Thank you. Yeah, because it must be for light to be able to be so like far-reaching.
Right, and it does that impedance value does directly relate to light's ability to propagate unimpeded through that value, and it's only when matter intervenes that it now starts to attenuate or refract or diffract and get altered. But if it's just
So
free space between A and B, then that impedance is all that matters, and that impedance causes the electric field and the magnetic field to self-sustain each other, and that's just like clearly obvious in the way that they interact.
Interesting. Thank you. Yeah. Pretty interesting.
Yeah, no, that part, like, I've always said ether is like that word has too much baggage. And if we're just talking about what allows light to propagate, we're probably talking about the same thing. And but ether is like the old school term. And there's a difference between luminiferous ether, which is what the old guys were talking about back in the day, versus the ether and ether wind and ether drift. And then all of these other qualities start getting pulled into it. And then those qualities have necessary implications and ramifications that are not observed. And then we're in a problem again. So that's how I see it.
Interesting. Thank you. I wonder if there's a method we can use to isolate, or like, how we remove air in a chamber, where we can actually remove this impedance, and then light doesn't even.
That would be amazing research, and I would predict that no, it's impossible to remove, because it's literally the definition of what. So in the absence of matter as we know it, the electric field, as it rises and falls, induces magnetic current or magnetic field, which then rises and falls, and the falling magnetic field induces changes in an electric field, and it's just like leapfrogging over each other. It's not like magic.
Sure.
It's not complicated. It's just kind of like an electromagnet is all you need to demonstrate that happening, and then a single wire antenna is all you need to produce that in real life and measure it directly. And it's not very. It gets overcomplicated real quick in a lot of conversations. I don't think it needs to be.
I believe it. Like, I have to read the material, but yeah, I can imagine. But yeah, thank you.
And visible light versus radio waves also overcomplicates it. Like, if we just pick a frequency of electromagnetic waves and talk about just that without getting distracted by like visible light versus infrared versus ultraviolet versus radiation versus radio waves, let's talk about one frequency and interact with it tangibly, and it starts to make more sense. And then frequencies interact with matter in different ways, but they don't interact with free space in different ways. That base level impedance is just like the basement value.
Yeah, makes sense.
And one thing that like clarifies that is, so that's the free space impedance of free space is the lowest possible impedance value that we know of, and adding any matter at all only increases that impedance. But does that mean, so when light, and this time I'm picking a visible light frequency, if it's ether in some sort of background medium, quote unquote, well then how and why is matter as it's injected into that? Does it coexist with that medium? Does it take up the same volume but not displace it at all? Like, why would glass in a camera's lens in ether, which is the background medium, why would that change how light interacts with the background medium? Or is it some combination of like the background medium plus the glass that inhabits the same volume? Like, those dots need to be connected in my mind for any of the next things, anything else to make sense. And I have not seen those dots get connected yet.
Here's an idea for you. There's no separation of any phenomenon or material from the background medium. That the glass is just a very complex expression that's rooted ultimately in its like material essence being basically built out of that background medium. Like it is what it's made out of.
The medium. Yeah, it is. It's the same thing. Every attribute from everything, every container is going to give you another action or reaction. You understand that, right, Bull Knight?
I feel like if a Glober said that, the whole room would say law of non-contradiction violation.
Nah, no, no.
I'd be
If
like,
you put
absolutely,
anything in a
because the glass
container,
can't be the medium and not the medium. Like, if there's a base medium and then it's also base medium plus glass, then why is it a base medium plus glass? Why isn't it just glass is a different medium? Why
no,
doesn't glass
it has a
include
reaction.
the ether
No
within
matter
it?
no matter what it is, it's going to have a diamagnetic, magnetic, kinetic. It's going to have a reaction, brother. So any material is going to have a set base property from its own material fucking thing property. You understand? You're going to get a reaction from it, whether it's tin, copper, gold, glass, crystal, farts.
What material
It's not
is
a
fart?
joke. It's not a joke. You're actually so
It's
if you
not a joke, but farts is a medium. Okay.
so you think the sun is a fart? Shut up. So anyway, so so if we got glass and you pull on it so hard, you're going to react to glass too. You understand that, right?
If I pull, like physically pull on glass,
No, the vacuum. Yes, physically do the vacuum so much you'll either break the glass physically. You're going to physically impart attributes onto this glass with the thing you're doing to try to
all right,
get
I
rid
don't
of
know.
the
No,
thing.
the air outside the glass will push in on it. That's not the
Don't
glass
care.
barrier.
That's the effect you're going to get. You're going to get an effect from a reaction. So how is that coming in there if you're trying to stop it? It's not going to happen. You're never
Yeah,
going to stop it.
stop what?
Is it really all that different than what mainstream said, that matter is made out of energy?
I thought there
Times the
was
speed of light,
microscopic.
whatever.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Or yeah, well, you get the idea. I take back that last part I added on, but that's what they say, and you know it.
It says there's microscopic holes in glass too. So now I'm starting to wonder
No,
why in the
no.
hell.
The mainstream would say that glass itself has a different um, permeability
Non-emergent
and
properties.
permittivity than free space.
So
It's
wait up,
freak.
Bill Knight, do you think the light slows down in the glass?
That's a different question. And I'm talking to Fundy, but we can get there next. But
Okay, right, yeah. Nail it. Sorry, go ahead, Fundy.
Oh no, I welcome your comment.
I don't think it slows down. I think it's a phase change interaction that results in the wavefront appearing to slow down. But it's more of and that traces back directly to the permeability and permittivity of the medium.
The red laser
It's not
shines straight
physically
through the glass,
slower.
so
Sorry,
it comes out a red. Go ahead. Sorry, I thought you paused.
No, I missed the very first part of your sentence. What did you say?
Oh, I said the red laser goes to the glass and comes out a red laser in the same direction it was heading.
Right. If it was literally slowing
But
down, it would
slowed
be
down
not
in the
red
glass.
anymore.
Well, no, it slows down and then it speeds back up again, so it'll go back to red. That's the funny part.
Right.
It just gains this
Yeah,
inertia
exactly.
all of a sudden from somewhere.
No, you can measure the frequency of it while it's in a different medium, and it's still the frequency hasn't changed. That's what defines red.
Which either means what? That it's like, I mean, isn't the general consensus of science at the moment that the light doesn't slow down, it takes a longer path, implying that it's bouncing around while it's traveling in like a straight line or something?
Not to my understanding.
They have like 3 or 4 competing ideas about why it slows down, but none of them have
The
won
competing
yet.
ideas
They're
are
all
more or
still
less like different
bet.
metaphors, right?
Well, no, that it
No,
appears to slow down, but it doesn't actually slow down as a claim. They say it's the speed is consistent. It just takes longer because it's bouncing all around or some shit.
There's a difference between group velocity and I think it's the other one is phase velocity, right?
I don't know anything about that. Phase
Like you
velocity
can look
versus what
at
group?
look at phased array antennas, like really complicated ones, and they do the same thing to change the direction of their emitted radiation by changing the timing and the phase offset of each individual subelement, and that has the same effect of being like a wavefront propagating through a slower or a faster quote unquote medium. But it's really just like index of refraction. If you look at what are the fundamental variables that define a material's index of refraction, and you get into permeability and permittivity and dielectric constants.
Hey, can I ask a random question just to see if anyone can DM me something? We'll go right back to the light and glass thing, but
Yes, it'll work it out.
Wander
Wander
plants. Okay,
planets.
that'll help me. Okay, cool.
It's AAJONUS. And then the last name is Vonder Planets with a Z. VONDERPLANITZ.
Got it. Thank you. I'm gonna see if I can find a lubrication for me.
wonder if he said anything about poison ivy or poison oak in any of his writings.
I'm a little preoccupied, just listening. I actually didn't hear what was asked. What needed rebutting?
So you know how we can bring like a physical object into vision, like over the geometric horizon, right? It's like seeing around corners. That's what the explanation is for these refraction anomalies, so that we can see Chicago, for example, that type of thing
Right.
over the curve.
Chicago skyline. Yeah.
Yeah. So when that happens, like if that actually was true, and if that did happen, the image would be not just lifted up; it would be brought forward as well, and replacing the actual content, which would be there, as it would be like covering up some data and bringing it forward. Is that how it works?
Bringing it forward? How do you mean bringing it forward? I don't understand.
Well, you're bringing the image forward towards the observation, right? From the observer's point of view, you're bringing that image not just up, but you're bringing it forward as well. Because otherwise, like you must realize that there's a lot of missing information from the horizon between this side of the curve and that side of the curve. There's going to be a whole bunch of information there that's going to get covered up, right?
I don't know. From my simple viewpoint, I think it just lifts it up. It bends the light in such a way that what appears to be at, say, 10 feet off the ground will appear to be 20 feet off the ground. You'll see boats floating in the air on the horizon on a muggy day, out at sea, that sort of thing. I think that's just what it does. And over a long distance.
We know that those observations, though, we are actually seeing a line of sight phenomena, which is it's got some distortion to the image due to refraction, right? But that's in the first place. Originally, it already was line of sight. It wasn't behind a curve. It's just distorted and lifted above your eye level or below.
If, to my understanding, the Chicago skyline is a great example of refraction, but I don't think you can see that far down towards the ground all the time. It's not something you can see all the time. I think it's something you can only see at certain times. If I'm not mistaken, I may be mistaken, but it doesn't happen all the time.
That's not exclusive to a curvy Earth, though, is it? That's not exclusive at all. That happens on a flat Earth too, right?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, maybe you're right. No. To be honest, I just know that what refraction can do is it can make things visible that would otherwise be obscured from view. I know that refraction can do that. As to whether that explains fully the observations that we see or not, that's the debate, isn't it?
I don't believe that at all. I don't believe that you're going to see something that obviously wasn't able to be seen before due to refraction. All I see refraction doing is distorting an image, which is already line of sight.
Oh, I see. Okay. I don't agree with that.
There's no proof otherwise. Like some people, like on your side of the fence, would say that there's a magic Fresnel lens at the horizon. Which side of the horizon is the Fresnel lens? Is it on the geometric far side or the close side?
Close side, I think, but I don't think it. I mean, it can make things larger, but I don't think it does that all the time. I think generally what it does, it just makes things that are lower appear higher. I also think with the sun, I've seen footage of people that observe the sun from a certain location. The sun appears to be a certain height off the ground, but then other people closer or another distance from the sun on the Earth say, no, it's not that height, it's this height. And so there's a discrepancy, and which is put down to refraction. And so that's why refraction is sort of understood, because you can observe it. Two different people can observe it, the same object, and it will appear to be in one place for one and another place for another. That's my
Where does the sun have to be? Where does the source of light have to be? Yeah.
I understand what you mean.
You don't know what I mean? The source of light
no, I don't know what
you're using to refract stuff? Where does that have to be to refract stuff certain ways, left or right or up or down or around in circles? Like, what do you mean you don't understand?
I don't understand the question.
So you don't know where your source is that's refracting stuff. Okay.
The source is the sun and the air.
Where's that?
The distant density of air that's refracting the sun.
Refracting which way? You know there's a 360 of the area all around everyone, right? So when you keep saying this willy-nilly stuff, right? So if the sun is to the east, to the left of me, and I'm looking forward, now what's refracting if the sun's that way? What's going on now? What am I seeing now? What magic thing on the globe is happening now from the left to right?
I don't even understand that. You mean you just turn your head and look towards the sun?
If
you're looking to the
left, there's boats, houses, mountains, trees, and stuff to the left. The sun is coming this way. This is not hard, brother. And then nothing's refracting right. Nothing. Do you understand? Where is your proof that's going to refract some way when the sun's coming from the opposite direction or whatever your principle is or whatever you're trying to claim? When the sun's
Maybe
here,
someone,
where's stuff refract at? You tell me.
maybe someone can better understand what Democh is saying, because I
So
don't
you
understand what
don't
he's saying. But
Well,
the only thing I will say
refraction.
is that we know that refraction occurs because people can
Where?
view the sun, and it
From
just
where?
say
Where?
they'll see it above the horizon, and other people around the world can see it, and it's not that height. They can see, no, it's not that height. It's actually some
Height has nothing to do with
such further
anything.
down.
Where are you
But by
seeing
the
it
way,
from
just
and
as
to?
like a side note, you don't need
Yeah.
a horizon to observe refraction. I can see refraction in
Right.
the atmosphere without looking anywhere near the horizon.
Yeah, refraction happens due to air density differences.
What's it do? With what? You got apples,
It
trees.
just simply bends light. It just bends light. That's all it does. It just bends
What
light
light? Where?
in whatever
How?
direction. Any light from any source, flashlight,
How?
laser,
How, silly guy?
because light bends due to the different densities of the medium it's passing.
But you don't know how. You're just going to keep saying
I
words.
just said how.
So if
And you can see that by putting it through a prism, by putting it through
Oh my God.
water.
you can't
There
put
is
the
one
sun
thing you have
pencil
to
in
know
a-
though, Red
pencil in a
Cloud.
glass.
When you say when you say bending light, it's going to be
Yeah.
a curved line, but it's not a curved line. It's a straight line.
That's what
No,
I'm asking.
if
Where
you
is
have
it
a
bending to
continuous-
and from and how?
If you have a continuous gradient, it will bend the light around a curve.
Gradient of what? How? Show us.
The different densities of the air at the surface level.
I don't even know
on
what
the
that
Earth.
means. I've never seen different densities of air.
Well, you can observe it because you can see that the sun is too high when you look at the horizon. People
Yeah, but when
around
you
the
put
world
the
can say,
pencil,
"Oh no,
densities of air?
it's not that high. It's actually lower than you think it is."
You can
when you
see
put the
densities of
pencil
air
in
with
the
your
glass
eyeballs.
of water, Democh, when you put the pencil in the glass of water, the pencil's not curved, is it? It's still
No,
straight.
it's not.
Just offset.
Yeah, because it's just one. That's just one different gradient. If you have multiple
So
different
hang on,
gradients,
but you're claiming bending. Bending requires curvy lines.
Exactly.
if you have one density change, you'll get one effect, which means the pen will appear to be just jagged right in the water. If you have multiple, then you'll have multiple effects. Multiple densities
So
will produce
stop
multiple
saying
effects.
bending. We have never observed the bending.
Yeah,
Well, you
don't know
observe
that
it when
outside.
people. I repeat, sorry, bending. You can see bending because people will see the sun too high,
I'm
but then the
asking
sun's
That's
you.
not
not there, and
bending.
other people
That's
can
offset.
also
That's
see the sun.
displaced. Where's the bendy part?
Yeah,
The
what
bendy
thing is
part's
bending?
observed around
Where? From
the
left
world.
to right. The sun is coming up to the east, 6 in the morning. I'm looking forward, right? Sun's coming up to the east. I'm looking forward, not at the sun. There's nothing
You're looking
bending
forward.
over to my left peripheral or to my mid vision. There's nothing bending anywhere. What are you talking about?
I'm talking about the observed bending of light, and you can prove that by going out and looking at the sun, and you can say the sun has not set. Where the sun it has set, it's just the light is causing the sun to be lifted up, because you can have other observers around the world, and they can say, no, the sun is not there, it's at this place, and then you can show that the observation you had was inaccurate because of the
You're
density
showing that
gradient
something is moving in
that
your
causes the bending
observation,
of
but
light.
you're not showing the
I mean, that's
actual
just
bendy part.
that's just something
Nothing you said made
can.
any sense. We're still letting
Everything I
this
said just
image
made
bending.
perfect sense, because that's how we
No,
know
it
that the
didn't.
light bends around the Earth.
No, you're
It
wrong.
does.
You just showed in your observation, you showed evidence of something getting displaced. The sun was displaced. It was
Yeah.
moved up, down, left, right. Where's
Right.
the bendy part, dude?
That is the bendy part. The observed bendy
Prove
part
it.
is the fact that the sun
Prove
isn't
it.
where it is when you see it.
That doesn't prove bending of light. That proves that the sun moved its position. It's apparent.
Magnification, widening, proves anything
for two
else.
different observers simultaneously, the sun is not going to move its position. It's going to be one position. So if you see the sun at the horizon, and the sun appears to be higher than you, just high, right? It's above the horizon, and other people can see the sun, and it is not in this place that you think it is. That's due to the refraction caused by the
Can you just
density
use a
gradient.
different word instead of bending? I'm like, I've had it up to my neck with people saying bendy light. Show me bendy light, please.
You can observe it by looking at the sun and having
What's
someone
bending about
else
it?
you know.
Explain. Can you explain in
I'll say
detail
that.
the bendy part? The bendy part.
So that a child could understand it, because that's the level of understanding that I have.
Well, you haven't explained it for a child because we're still not getting the bendy part. We know that there's displacement. Where's the bendy bit?
Well, what word would you use to define that?
If you're in the east coast of Australia,
I'm putting it in the chat right now. These are the like Skunk Bay, where you see all this bending and warping. Or if you don't have to call it bending. I mean, I think light always.
bending.
Yeah, I'm just asking
Guess
Karlos.
so.
Like,
I would say there's distortion, there's displacement,
Blurry.
there's diffraction, refraction, all of these terms. But I can't see the light like a straight beam of laser. It's not bending. It's getting like distorted or mirrored or reflected or refracted or diffracted. There's no such thing as bendy light.
No sugar tank. No sugar tank oil rig.
So what you're saying is there's all those different effects except the one that causes the sun to be shown to be higher
Bending
than it
would
actually is
require
when
a
you observe it.
straight line to start to have a curve to it.
No,
And
all bending does is all the bending is a result of a very long gradient. You're talking about one gradient and seeing like in a
what
pencil
does
in
the
a
word
glass.
bend mean to you, though? We're trying to clarify this word right here. Do you mean going out in a straight line and getting farther away, like diverge and converge and not bend? Or do you mean
No,
bend in an arc?
bend in an arc, like when you throw a baseball and it bends in an arc. That's
No,
what the light
it
will
doesn't
do.
do that.
And that's so the sun appears to be higher than it actually is. And people have observed this, people
It
have
doesn't.
measured it, because they have multiple observers at the same time looking at the same sun. And when someone sees it higher than it should be, there's only one conclusion, and that is that the path to your eye that the sun takes is being distorted, and I call it bending.
That's a slope.
I know you don't like that, but that's why I understand.
That's weird to pigeonhole yourself into one conclusion, little guy, when there's millions
I
of
don't know if
different
it's
things.
pigeonholing. I don't know
Yeah,
what
totally.
other
You gave
conclusion might
yourself
I.
one choice out of a billion. That's weird.
Well, you're eliminating one choice. You're saying there's
You're eliminating a
refraction and
billion.
diffraction and everything except
You
this
didn't.
one
You
thing.
still didn't show bendy light. You still didn't
Well,
demonstrate it,
that's
talker.
you demonstrate. You can demonstrate it yourself. You could get
Yeah,
multiple
cool story.
observers.
Give me the ingredients.
Go on the east
How
coast
do
of
I bend the
Australia and
sun?
look to the
How do
west
I
as the
make the
sun
sun
sets.
bend something to the left or right? Please tell me.
How do I make the sun bend something to the left or right? I don't even know what that sentence means. How do I
You
make the
use
sun bend?
glass.
You're claiming it.
You can look at it through look at it. Obviously, everyone's looking at the sun at the distance, but the best
Yeah, we're
time
gonna
is, I
see
don't know,
stuff
an hour
arc,
before
like
sunset.
arcing trees, arcing boats, arcing stuff. Your claim.
Yeah, like I said, you can see boats floating in the air on the horizon on hazy days.
We're not talking about looking at a picture of
That's
a
what I'm. Well,
boat.
that's what I'm talking about.
So
That's
you're
what I'm
talking
talking
about a
about.
levitating boat 1 inch away from
Yes.
water. You're saying that's an arc somewhere that has no variance in reality. No arc, nothing.
Why is the
No
boat?
arc.
Why does the boat appear to be floating?
There's no arc there, sir.
What makes the boat appear to float?
Tupac in the air is not an arc. Do you understand that? Your boat
What makes the boat?
hologram is not an arc.
What
There's no
makes the
arc.
boat appear?
Show
What
me
makes
where
the
the
boat
arc's
appear
lined
to
up
fly?
at. To and from.
Yeah, see, this is where it went as well as I thought.
Yeah, A and B. Where's the arc at from A to B, silly guy? Your arc, A to B, doesn't it have to have a fucking distance of area, a volume, right?
All right. Yeah. Red Cloud. You know, in the ones where it looks like the boat is floating, it's not actually floating. It's just there's like a reflective layer that kind of changes the position or what looks like where the position of the horizon is.
Well, so Gio, here's a question. So do you think that is a result of one change in direction from the light, such as illustrated with a pen or pencil in a glass of water? Do you think there's the light's going one way, then suddenly it bends the other way?
In a glass of water,
In a glass of water, it's just one.
say it happens, you know, at the glass level.
Yeah, there's one change of light because of that change in density. Well, what is wrong with what is problematic with the concept of you're looking through a lot of air, and at each time as you're looking through the air, there is a gradient that changes because the Earth is curved. It changes and makes the light effectively bend. There's nothing problematic in my mind with that as an idea. I don't look at that and say,
A lot
oh,
of people are going to tell you that the definition requires two different mediums. I personally don't have a huge bone to pick with it, but you know, expect that response.
Yeah, there's big difference, like glass and air or glass and water. That's a big difference. That's why the pencil will just be really, really jagged, right? It'll just look completely jagged. But then you have small differences like in air density above water. So I don't think, for me personally, I don't think that's problematic as a proposition that can happen. If Earth is a globe, then there'll be a gradient and the sun will appear higher. That's my answer to that one. If it's unsatisfactory, sorry. I mean, yeah, I suppose.
The sun, the same thing that you're saying might require you to be able to see the sun longer on a flat Earth, that's actually going to make the sun set prematurely. Because as long as something is above your height, basically, right? It's at a higher altitude than you, then that means that it's coming down through denser and denser layers, right? So that it'll be pulled towards the denser layers, which means that any image of something taller than you is going to basically arc downward prematurely instead of taking a straight line to your eyes. So the image. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. So the understanding I have is that is what happens to the light. And if that's what happens to the light, the object you're seeing will appear to be higher than it really is because the light is being bent down. If the light was being bent down.
But think about this, right? Now that's true for maybe when you can see it, but it's kind of this like double-sided coin. Think about something over a flat Earth, right? That's so far in the distance that if it took a straight line, it could reach you. But because the denser medium, as it, at a 45-degree angle or whatever, is trying to go to you in a straight line, it's actually going to nosedive prematurely because it's being pulled into the denser medium.
To my understanding, sorry, I keep saying that. So as far as I think about it, I think the reason that people think the Earth is concave is because of objects that are higher than they actually are, appear higher than they are. And so I think people think the Earth is concave due to that effect. If the Earth was flat, as far as I know, I think what is being said in the debates that I've heard is that the things that we see that are high would be higher if the Earth is flat.
I got you. See, they're always talking about the ground, and like I pointed out, it has this effect of like curving light through refraction of denser layers of air medium. It's going to have opposite effects of things below your height and above your height. Things that are above you will nosedive prematurely, and things that are below you will be able to be like revealed around a drop or seen over. Well, you get the point. It'll raise up. So it depends whether the object you're looking at is below your height or above your height. And on a flat Earth, the sun will always be above your height, which will make it. That effect alone would cause sunsets and bottom-up obstruction.
I see. I think I see what you're saying. But if the light was bending the opposite way, then things would appear lower. If you look at...
It depends whether the thing you're looking at is above or below your height, and the globe complicates things because, the same, like on the globe, altitude isn't synonymous with above or below your height, right?
From your vantage point, from your perspective, your view, that's correct. So a plane could go out and then get lower than you. On a flat Earth, it won't ever get lower than you. But
it's like below your horizontal line of sight, but it's also at a higher altitude. Where on a flat Earth, those are the same. They match up, but on a globe, they don't. Which is what complicates this when it comes to the sun on either model.
The sun is different than, say, something like a plane or anything like that, because a plane isn't emitting light; it's reflecting light. So and the sun's magnitude, the magnitude of the sun light-wise is far, far greater than that of something like a plane. So I don't know. Yeah.
What's the difference, dude? Like emitting light, refracting light, like the light is coming off the airplane into your eye. What would be the difference for you? And how could you know if that plane wasn't emitting light if you didn't know it was an airplane?
Well, because the distance I can see an airplane is limited, whereas the sun is much, much further away than a plane, and it still can be visible. So the effect of the refraction will be far greater. The plane would be out of sight by the time it's refraction.
How do you know the difference between something that's emitting light and reflecting light?
How do I know the difference between things that are emitting light and reflecting light?
So if you thought
Just
this was coming from the
guesses.
sky and you didn't know where it was coming from, but I knew the secret, like I knew it was the sun, or if I knew it was the plane reflecting the sun's light to you, but you didn't know that because you were just born, and you looked at it and you saw light. How would you know that light wasn't coming from a source and instead it was being reflected all the other way around?
I think it's a different question, though, isn't it? But it's a good question, and the answer is you wouldn't really know. So the proposition I've heard from people that the sun is not a physical object; it's reflecting from something else. It is a prismatic effect from another light source.
But how would you know? How can you tell?
I mean, you could do something like you could launch a rocket. You can go launch a rocket and get as close as you can, and see if there's any pattern, or rather a path of light beyond the sun. You know what I'm saying? If it's reflected from something else, then there'll be a path of light to that something else. I don't think anyone's ever found that, so I can say that the sun is its own light source.
Is reflecting. This is what I'm trying to get to. The light is reflecting and refracting off the object, which is hidden behind the horizon, bringing the image up into your view from behind the geometric physical horizon. That light is being reflected into your eyes. How do you know that that is a reflection? Or how do you? There's no light beam coming to your eyes, right? You were just explaining this path of light. All you see is the image being distorted in the background. Where's the path of light that you're trying to show and prove?
But I don't know if I'm trying to prove a path of light necessarily. All I'm saying is that if you
talking about this path of light as if it's something.
Okay, well the fact is that if you look down the street and you see some haze and you see a car and the car appears to be floating, but the person driving the car knows the car is sitting on the ground. That's the same sort of thing. So you can have someone that observed the sun from around the Earth and sees the sun setting and sees the sun high and it hasn't yet set, but other people that are around the world can see that the sun is in a certain position, but your position is inaccurate because of the refraction.
I don't
That's how
believe
you
in the
know.
path of light, except for when there's a prism involved or a Fresnel lens. But when I'm looking at something, I am seeing a direct line of sight to whatever that is, whether or not that is a refracted image or not. It's a distorted image that I can see, because you can only see a line of sight. There's no way you can see any other way.
Well, then your observation then is fraught, I would say, with problems, because you can't really tell, you can't really know if the object you're looking at is really there, because there could be refraction going on. But there is a way you can tell by having other people look at that same object and comparing notes. And so you can say, where was it according to you? Oh, well, according to me, the car was on the ground. Well, I saw the car floating. Or according to me, I was on the boat, and the boat was on the water, and you can say, oh, I saw your boat floating. So you can have two observers or more looking at the same object. That's how you can tell. That's how you can know that the refraction that I'm talking about really is happening. So
No one's
that to me is
denying
a
refraction.
rational idea.
No one is denying refraction, dude. Talking
I know.
about line of sight to whatever you're observing, whether or not it can appear from around a solid corner.
So what happens if you have in Australia, from the east coast to the west coast, I don't know exactly where the sun sets in Australia, but let's say you're on the east coast and you have 10 observers all along, through the outback to the other side of Australia, and all those 10 observers can show the position of the sun and sort of plot it out and show that the person that's seeing the sun on the east coast, their view of the sun is much higher than the sun actually is according to the people who are on the west coast. So there's discrepancies. And you can have each different person, 10 different people, all showing the same thing as the sun, as the Earth rotates and the sun appears to move away or whatever it appears to do, appears to go down. Each 10 of those people can observe the same thing progressing. And so you can show that it is a curved path of light.
Have you ever heard of the personal dome of perspective? Have you ever heard of the hyperbolic personal dome of perspective?
That's a Jaren thing. I remember his, yeah. We all have it. I'm going out, look, I'm outside right now. I have a dome of perspective. Yep.
So why wouldn't that be able to be the replacement for your theory?
You can't see very far. I can't see very far. There are trees and all sorts of things.
Does your dome intersect with another person's?
Dome intersect? Yeah, everyone has a different. Someone, my neighbor, half a mile down the road will have his dome of vision. Yeah. So when Jaren came up with the azimuthal grid of vision, isn't that what he called it? That's what he called it.
Worry about all that. I just worry about
Jaren came up with the concept. Your personal dome. I agree with the personal dome thing because that's what it looks like to me. I agree with that.
Where does yours start? Where does it start and stop? Your personal dome.
It starts with my eyeballs, and stops it stops with my the furthest I can see. So I look up, I'm looking at the clouds. It's starting to rain, and it looks like a dome over me. But if I walk, then I don't know. The clouds right now, I don't know, a couple of miles.
Couple of
miles right now.
You don't see a moon? Damn.
Couple of miles. No, it's cloudy. I'm in Atlanta. Look at the weather. So my dome of vision is limited. But if I decide I'm going to walk 20 miles, I'm going to walk into Atlanta, and I look up, I'll see a dome. I'll see another dome. So
yeah, but we can never get where your dome starts or your bendy light.
Yeah. Well, my dome starts with me.
Out point A to B. That's what we're trying to get.
The middle of the dome is where I'm standing.
No, for your bendy light, man. Your arc light.
Oh, it's a different question though. The bendy light? Well, that's a totally different question than the dome vision, isn't it? Maybe I'm wrong.
That's the one you're running from, isn't it?
Running from? No, I mean, you asked the question, I gave you my perspective. I'm not running. Otherwise, I'd say, I don't want to answer that. That's too hard. Goodbye, click. And I would hang up, and I would say, I can't answer that question. Please don't answer the question.
Where does the light been from?
That's too much. That's too much for me.
Where's point B?
It's the flight of What? I'm sorry, I was just busy being stupid. What was that, Democh?
Where's point A and point B? Where does the light been from and to, so we can measure this bad baby?
Your eyes to the object. That's it. But if you have multiple observers along that path of light, along that, whatever it is, if it's a curve, it's a straight, whatever it is, along that path of light, right? If you have 5 different observers, let's say you have 5 ants on that pencil, okay? You can see there's a big jagged because of the drastic difference between the water and the air, and that's why it's so jagged. And if you have 10 ants, each of them will see one big change in direction. But if you're on East Coast and then West Coast and you have, say, 10 or 20 or 30 different observers, they can see it gradually curving, not just like just one bend of light, just one kink. It'll be a gradual arc. And you can prove that to be true if you had like 20 observers, wouldn't even need that many, say 5, right? You could do that. Or you could prove that that's not true by getting 5 friends from all over Australia, all through West Coast, East Coast, and make
I got a
observations
big
and
field.
show
I'm
us where
looking
the
at a
sun
big
appears.
field. Hey, hold on, bro. There's birds
Okay.
and mud puddles and stuff all over the field. I don't see any bird refracting to any other spot in that field. Now, if you can prove to me that a bird refracts because the sun's coming from the east and the sun's shooting at the birds from the back and they're refracting forward like an earth curve, then I'd love to take a look.
A bird is too close. A bird is going to be way too close. The sun works well because it's really far. The sun works really, really well because it's really, really far. That's
Good
the thing
story.
about the sun.
That's a good story.
Well, I mean, I don't know if it's a
You
story,
said you
but
can only see a couple miles. What's really, really far? Now you can see the sun and it's really big and far, far, far. Just crazy words that mean nothing. Okay, that's going to help anybody calculate or prove something. Okay.
what did I just gave you an example of the way that you can test and see if what I'm saying is true or not true.
No, you didn't.
I
I
ask
got the
anyone who
birds in
is
the field. They're waiting.
currently in Australia, anyone Australian here, get 10 friends, 5 friends, all along the coast, go on Discord, find people, and make that observation yourself and show that it's one jagged line like the pencil, or it's a gradual curve. You can do that.
I'm looking
you
at
not?
the bird bending, the arc bending bird that bends with the arc of the earth. I just want to see the birds bend somehow. Arc
The
birds.
bird's not going to bend, dude. The bird's not going to
All you're doing is
bendy bird.
Red Cloud is explaining how perspective works. Like if I had a whole bunch of people lined up in a row and we were spread out in a line, like maybe say 100 yards between each other, and we all pointed at the local convenience store on the corner, we'd all be pointing in a different direction. Do you agree or not?
I agree, but if the person that's closer, first of all, let's just start with this. The person that's closer to the convenience store would see the convenience store much larger than you if you're standing further from the convenience store, and that doesn't
There
happen
you
with the
go.
sun.
Okay.
So
So
there's
what
your
does that
first
mean to
problem.
you? What does that mean
means
to
you've
you?
got to,
Closer, further?
that means that the sun is further. How far? Don't know. Don't have to know. All I know is it doesn't appear to change size, and so it can be said to be further.
What if there's a personal dome of perspective that makes things look closer or further in the distance? Depending on the weather of the day, the conditions, your dome might shrink or expand.
Yeah, I think it probably will. It depends on the topography of the land, right? How flat the land is, or if it's hilly, trees in the way, all sorts of stuff like that. Go out to Utah or somewhere, I don't know, or Bonneville. That's the only one I know really flat. And even that has mountains surrounding it, I think, from what I've seen. But no, I don't think it's unreasonable. I know you don't like the idea, and I know you don't agree, but I don't think it's unreasonable. I think it's a very reasonable idea.
The reason why there's the argument here in the first place is not just for the sake of having an argument. No one wants to have an argument. Like we've all got high blood pressure problems, but what we're really talking about, is it true that something can be brought into vision from behind a physical geometric blockage?
Yes, that's true.
And the claim is that it's refraction, which is not exclusive to this scenario at all. It can be observed over a flat linear plane. Like it doesn't need to be said that it's coming from behind a physical geometric curve at all. A blockage, a hump.
But if that was true, then as far as I'm concerned, the sun would never really set. And I know you don't like that, and I've heard MC2 say that, but it was about 2 years ago he said that he's moving for the things. True. You wouldn't be, because you'd be continually making the sun appear higher than it really is. And so you wouldn't, the sun would never go down. You see just the top of the sun, and then it disappears. And then you pull out your telescope, biggest one you can find, and zoom right in, or get a P1000 or the 1100, whatever it is now, and zoom right in, and the sun will still be gone. There's no way to bring it back. And it's not got any smaller, which means it isn't perspective. So you cite perspective, and I get that. But with the convenience store, perspective says something will get bigger as you get closer. And that doesn't happen with the sun, not to the degree that is necessary for a flat Earth. That's my viewpoint.
You forgot perception. You got perspective and perception.
It's all perception.
Of the medium you're looking through. There's stuff there. Did you know that? So it's just not you looking at a computer screen talking about my perspective, my perception.
That's what that's what causes the refraction, is the stuff, which is the air and the air densities, because it's not just one. So yeah, I get that.
Why are you acting like it doesn't exist? You're acting like you're looking through.
I told you it
one
exists.
dimension.
I'm telling you that it exists, and that is the cause of the sun appearing to be higher than it really is. And then, but
so
you've also got
one dimension.
But you've got to then explain.
Hold on, 3959 is your wall of everything, right?
My wall of everything.
Yeah, your wall of everything, your wall of perspective and sight. If you're standing and you're a guy and your perspective is the center of the ball, 3959 in front of you is all you got for everything, right? That's what you just said.
I don't know what you mean by that. I've only got my dome of vision.
That's all you have. That's all that exists. Yeah. 3959.
So if I go to a mountain and I look out and there's no mountains and the rest of the place is all relatively low, like lower than me, no mountains, then I can see the sun, and I can see it at a great distance.
You can't even
And then
see
when it
39,
sets,
59. You can't see 39. You don't even have that, really. So your
explain
globe
what you
is
mean by
not doing
39,
Not
59.
even not even from the ISS is that possible.
Well, what do you mean
Right.
39, 59? I know what you mean by that, but what are you
I'm
talking about
saying
that I
you
can't see?
little
Of course I
guy.
can't
I'm
see that.
saying when you look,
No.
how far are
Yeah,
you looking in your circle, your personal dome? I asked you this 20 times. How far is that?
I answered. It depends. Right now, I can only
That's
see
not an
about
answer.
300
That's
feet
not an amount of
because
miles
there's trees.
that we can prove and back your claim. We can't do that.
I'm just answering the simple. If you're asking a simple question, I'm going to give you the simplest answer and the honest answer. Right now, I can only see a few hundred feet. But if I were to go out to Utah or wherever, or Bonneville, I can see a lot further. My dome of vision would be much, much greater.
What's much mean? How does that help anybody prove anything from point A to B to prove that you're seeing something refract from here to there? You just say much and so big. And
The proof is what I said about doing the observation in Australia. There you could prove it. And
can you
I
do
think
the
someone
observation
in
left to
Australia,
right?
flat earthers in Australia could do that. Why couldn't they do that?
Can you do it left to
Go do
right?
that.
Left to right. Let's see anything refract left
There's
to
no
right.
left to right.
Silly. Yeah, silly
No,
guy. So it doesn't exist?
no.
So now on a
Left to
globe,
right
you
just
can't
doesn't
get
make
left to
sense.
right refraction. There's no.
It
This is
doesn't make any
crazy.
sense.
So in space on
Left
your,
to right
I know it
refraction.
doesn't.
Left to right refraction. What does that mean? Left to right refraction.
I don't
Because
know,
if I
guy.
look to my left, there's refraction. I look to my right, there's
I
no
don't know
refraction.
what's left and right on the ball, silly boy. You tell me.
Okay.
Guy who
All
doesn't
right.
even know direction. So left to right refraction is what you'll need front to
that's a
back
mess.
refractor on a ball. No different. Same thing.
All right.
Act like you don't know.
There you go. All right.
So do you have left to right to prove you have front to back? I don't care about anybody's opinion. Do you actually physically have this, or can anybody prove that there's something refracting left to right? A boat, a mountain, anything? No? Oh, okay. Just look forward and that must be doing this magic thing, huh? Okay. Yeah, right. Talk about manipulate no variable.
You know how you just said that your dome of perspective gets bigger, right? As you look out, you can see further because you're maybe less obstructions, or maybe you're higher. How can you explain your dome? Like, what is the shape of this dome of perspective? Like for me, it's kind of like a certain height, like at your zenith.
It's what it appears to be when I go outside, like I'm now. It appears to be dome over me.
Right. Like so if your horizon is say 3 miles away, right, then that's the edge of your dome of perspective, isn't it?
Yeah.
But then you've got things that are in the sky.
Yeah.
But then you've got things that are in the sky that are above the horizon that continue past the horizon to extend your dome, right?
Yeah, things like at night that would be the stars, and during the day it would be the moon and the sun. And they are
I'm talking
beyond the
about like in the
horizon.
daytime, maybe is probably a better analogy. Like when you're looking at the clouds, how they ramp down in the distance. They ramp down and it appears that they converge at the horizon. But if you look carefully, you can actually see the clouds go way past the horizon. But sometimes you get refraction and you get all sorts of anomalies in the atmosphere that's going to have like this band, like just like this, where everything converges and compresses. And you said that, if the sun was just disappearing on a flat Earth, you should be able to get a zoom lens and just bring it back. Like, no, it's hidden behind this this band of atmosphere that just is not going to allow you to see anything no matter what.
Just like your
But
clouds.
that should be a gradual
clouds.
As far as I can, that should be a gradual effect, not a clear line. As you see in certain places around the world, you'll see a clear line. Because if you've got a place where there's very little atmospheric distortion, where there's not that much humidity, it's kind of dry, you'll see a clear line, only right at the end of the sunset.
There's evidence for it being. There is actually evidence for like the sun just looks like it's setting and then it just goes away and fades out and disappears before it actually physically looks like it's physically going down, like behind an obstruction. We have evidence of
a lot
this.
of clouds.
It's not right. So you're just saying like you're just saying the opposite of that, where that's not true because we get all different scenarios.
Well, what I'm saying is true. There are places on Earth where there's low humidity, where you can see the sun. You've seen Lion King? It's just a cartoon, but it shows sunset really well. So I have it on good authority that people, like in some African nations where sometimes the humidity is low, they can see the sun until the sun disappears very, very quickly at the end of the evening. So it isn't a gradual thing. It's daylight, and 10 minutes later, it's night.
I'm talking about looking at the physical sun.
No, I just said it was a good representation. If you can see photos of it, you can see photographs. But I'm just saying Lion King, because that image of the sun right on the horizon all distorted is kind of iconic, isn't it?
You are living in cartoon land.
Of course, Risky. I didn't mean look at a cartoon. I meant it's
You
a
just put your foot in
representation
it.
of them. Okay, yeah, I did say I should have said cartoon. I know that's sort of like, did you say cartoon? I hope this is what you wanted, Rixky. Thank you for letting me get in on
Sometimes
the chat.
cartoons do actually depict reality. Rixky, we have like the Simpsons that have predicted many things in our
Yellow
reality.
people.
Don't you know?
Well, Trump going down an escalator or something. Was that a
Yeah,
prediction, or was that did that come after the fact, or was that a hoax or some shit?
that was
Can't
weird.
recall.
Yeah, that was really, really, really weird. Stuff like that. I don't know. I really like stuff like that because it just makes you go, huh? Question reality. It's good. They predicted some other things as well, didn't they? But if you have enough media, you have enough cartoons, someone somewhere is going to come up with something that's going to relate to something. And it's just coincidental. It's just coincidental. I told you that, Rixky. Rixky, I told you that one. What? I think it was squirrels or something like that, or it was, I don't know, peanut butter. And I was in the chat right here, and someone mentioned peanut butter, and then one of my family members walked in the room and said peanut butter.
That doesn't matter. Like what we're talking about is reality. Like have you seen the front cover of The Economist magazine where it had hang gliders with Hamas on it way before they actually had hang gliders going into Israel, or the other way around?
Yeah. No, I haven't seen that one, but no, that doesn't surprise me at all.
You haven't seen that? Oh my God, you've got it.
No.
What year was that? Does anyone know? Was it 2020? Oh yeah, I don't know. You'd have to check it up. The Economist magazine with Hamas.
Yeah.
And hang gliders.
Yeah.
Just a quick
that's
Google
whacked out, isn't it? That's
thing.
whacked out. You got to wonder. That's it. It's a good point. It's a good. When people say, anti-flat, please don't consider me an anti-flat earther. So an anti-flat, I'm separating myself because I'm not an anti-flat earther. But when the you can't stop questioning. You need to stop questioning. You can't do that. Stop questioning everything. Well, there are some things that are just whacked out, like the Trump down the escalator and that cartoon on The Economist. And then
so
what was the other one?
Thought in mind, dude, like with this thought in mind, how far do these type of things extend into our physical reality? Like the fact that they put predictions into movies like the Back to the Future, and it's got the 9/11 details written all over it. Like how far does the unknown of these sources actually extend into our physical reality that could be like even suggestible that it might even be affecting the way we see a sunset?
Yeah, that is an excellent concept and idea. And I embrace it because there's some whacked out crap. I'm not going to say the S word, but there's some whacked out crap that if you live long enough, I've lived a while, you see some of this stuff over the years. You just go, no, that's just, you sort of put it in the weird crap bucket, you know what I mean? And by the time you've lived a few decades, your bucket gets really full. And you're like, there's all this weird crap going on. What is happening?
Have you seen this Begonia movie? Came out in 2025.
No. Begonia?
It's not a great movie, right? But
the flower?
it's got Emma Stone
Begonia?
in it. Pardon?
Emma Stone, sorry. Are you talking about the flower, the Begonia?
Well, I mean, I'm not familiar with the flower, but that's the name of the movie. It literally has a depiction. Someone has what do you call it? CGI'd a flat Earth looking thing right in one of the scenes. Like it cuts scene, and you see essentially like this. What would you call it? Sort of black background with a depiction of the flat Earth, like dead center in the middle.
Oh, really? That's funny.
And I mean, it's about basically. I don't want to ruin too much of it, but essentially, two conspiracy theorists kidnap a woman and thinking she's an alien, and then it cuts to this scene where basically like they're displaying the flat Earth. It's just crazy. I was like, why are they just flagging? I don't understand what they're doing there. Even from like a normative state of mind, like watching this movie is like, why have all of a sudden, why is the Earth flat in this depiction?
Yeah, that's another good one. I don't know about symbolism in movies. I'm not sure about that because Hollywood is, rotten to the core. To such an extent, I don't think a lot of people really, if they knew, a lot of people would not be fawning over a lot of these movie star people.
Did you know like the biggest user of Hollywood effects is NASA?
I don't think that's true.
You don't know?
They have the green screen in the world.
They have the best technology, better than Steven Spielberg.
Can you prove that is true? I mean, I know what it takes to produce visual effects. I know I am familiar with the compute power, the time it takes to render things, all of that stuff.
Why would NASA answer the question? Why would NASA need to have a green screen at all? For what?
What green screen? What green screen are we talking about?
Like any green screen. Why would they need to use a green screen? For what?
What green screen? What green
They've,
screen are you talking about? Can you be
they've got
can you be
affiliations,
more?
like they've got affiliations with Amazon Studios. They've got affiliations with all these players that have massive LED special effects screens, blue screens. What's that other stuff where you can have these contact lenses and you can have augmented reality? NASA are the leading edge in this technology. You didn't know?
No, I don't. First of all, I don't believe you. But that, I mean, that's okay. I'm just saying it as I see it. Being honest, not mean to offend.
Ignorance is not an
I don't believe you. I
excuse.
don't think that's true. I don't think that's true. I think you'd have to. I'd have to see pretty good citations for that. Like they've got
Good
green
vibes. You're gonna
screens.
have to change your name pretty soon, mate.
It's really easy. Good vibes. Like think about it. Augmented reality would be humongous for them, so they
Good vibes,
can
all right.
train their astronauts on walking on
I
the
don't
moon.
know. I don't.
on Mars. So it's not that big a deal.
Am I on?
Like interrogation vibes going on right
Oh,
now.
right, and that's why they need
I
to
love
take
it.
their Mars rover to like Devon Island. That's why they need to go to Devon Island to practice fucking making their rover go
Just
over rocks,
just
like
smoke it
all
all
the
up.
way to Devon. Like,
Repeat
don't they
everything
have
you heard.
fucking rocks in? Don't they have rocks in America?
Repeat everything you heard. Just repeat it. Keep going.
You're just telling me an excuse that you just made up for NASA having
No,
like the best
I know about
technology
this.
in like a movie tricks.
No, we use augmented reality too. to
Devon
teach
Island. That was
clients, hey,
fake, man.
hey,
Good vibes.
Brett,
That was
can you hear
fake.
me talking?
That
Can you
wasn't
hear
a picture.
me talking?
That was a picture of Devon Island. And
Red Cloud,
Can
can you
you hear me
Red
talking?
Cloud? Hold on, Red Cloud. Can you hear Wesley?
I just have to go in and out because I can't hear people. No,
Okay.
I'm going off. I'm going on mute.
Okay, no worries. Yeah, they use augmented reality to like you can do it too. Like the Mars rover, if you put the Google Lens or something else like that on, or HoloLens, it's called, you can walk around the surface of Mars in your living room if you want. But that's what they use it for, at least partly.
Who's the guy that said that the simulations are so good that even the operators couldn't tell the difference between the simulation and the reality? Who's that guy?
Gene Kranz.
You know why they're off the dome, Geo? Jeez.
Well, the only thing about that is that if you've been
No, that's
to
Elon Musk,
Mars,
right?
then you'd have something to compare to. How would they know what it's like in reality? They haven't been to Mars, so they've
Well,
only
it
got the
has to be real.
simulation.
It has to be real because it looks so fake. No, it has to be fake because it looks so
It's-
real.
It's not something you can really take seriously if no one has seen the. If you haven't seen Mars in person, how would you know what you're? Yeah, it's going to be high resolution, and if you take a photograph of an area, especially an area as small as the area that the Mars rovers have gone, if you look at the area they've covered, it's nothing. It's like 2 miles, something 3 miles. They've been there for 20 years. They've only gone 3 miles, something. So if you look at that, and they take photographs every day of all the rocks, you can simulate that, and you can put in a program, and then you can drive your Mars rover around, and you can see every pebble and every rock, and it's all simulated. But it's based on photographs that they got from Mars, right? That, if you did your garden, the same thing, right? If you could take a little camera on one of those little robot mowers, and you could actually plot out and map out your garden, and then reproduce in the computer, and then virtually drive around your garden, see every blade of grass.
Have you heard that the sky on those Mars rover missions, right? When they broadcasted those images, not from Mars back to Earth, but from what am I trying to say here? They basically they edited those images to make the sky more red because they thought that the audience would basically find it very unusual if the sky were blue on Mars. So it does actually indicate that they are augmenting and manipulating the photography in order to make it more congenial or kind of, what would you say? To match our expectation, essentially. Very bizarre.
I photographed a wedding last week before last, actually. I photographed a wedding, and you better believe I augmented the bride to make her zit go away. I absolutely did that. And to make the sky look bluer than it is, and her dress look whiter, and it was a bit orangey, so I selected it and then took down the color temperature, so it didn't look so orangey, looked more white. Yes, every wedding photographer will tell you. So NASA's no different.
These are meant to be like authentic images. I get that, maybe if you're a photographer of a wedding, you want to sell a little bit of a lie and make it a little bit more kind of
Come on, Rix.
No, dude, come on, man. Like, they're manipulating the color of the sky to appeal to the audience. Like,
is the bride going to call me and say,
for anything?
Is the bride going to call me and say, I want to see the raw images. I want to see what I really look like, especially that zit. My dress is orangey. That's what I want to see. Show me no bride has ever done that. I've been photographing weddings for years.
What are you, like a bride of NASA or something? Is that what you're trying to tell me now? Like, you're the bride of NASA?
I'm trying to tell you that for images to be processed through Photoshop or any other means isn't unusual, and it's not good evidence in my mind.
So how do you know that rock is red then, in that imagery that you get back from Mars and the rover? And so how do you know that rock is red? How do you know that there's
It would-
not sunshine, rainbows, and lollipops or something all over the
The-
landscape, and they just had to edit it
That's
to make
not
it
the
look
question.
like Mars more for you? Because you
That
just
isn't the
want it to
question.
look more like Mars. You
Well-
dude, you manipulate yourself at this point.
the risky suck. So the oh gosh, I forgot
You
what
want
I
to
was
be
gonna say.
lied to, man. That is literally what that implies. You want
Yeah,
the
you're
lie.
so terrible. You're so terrible. You're just a bad man.
Mate, I'm banging on
Um,
the mark right here.
No.
You're talking about Disney sunsets and bloody...
No, okay, the better question. The question is not whether that rock is red. The question is that rock real? Is that a real rock taken with a real sensor beamed from Mars to Earth? That's the question. Not has the photograph been processed to make the rock look red? NASA's going to process pictures. Every photographer processes pictures. Every picture is processed. Even
Lie to me harder, Daddy.
even analog film, that's processed in dark rooms. It's all processed before digital. You're saying that that's evidence, and I'm saying there is better evidence that you could come up with than that, especially when you're talking to a photographer, for Pete's sake.
There's better evidence. I mean, I'm sure I just brought up that one as a rather interesting one, and it's kind of
Yeah, it is
interesting that you sit here sort of floundering trying to defend the position when they're meant to be trying to represent like authentic reality, one of their greatest missions. And what do? They go manipulate the color of the sky.
You can. It depends on the mission, but you can see the original negatives from Apollo, right? You can see those. People have seen the negatives from the original Apollo missions, so they've got that already.
Literally,
and you can
literally
see
just telling us. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, but if they produce something for the public, don't forget what NASA's target audience is: the general public. Their target audience isn't scientists when they produce stuff. They produce stuff for the general public, right? Yes. Because they want to be
travels or something
NASA's
Well,
NASA's objective is to keep being funded, because everyone that's working there has a mortgage, so they have an incentive to keep getting funding, and so they're going to make the stuff look nice.
So what,
right?
They're manifesting this idea of Mars right in front of your very eyes. Like, what is it? Images of Mars in the past never had polar ice caps on it. Now all of a sudden, there's water on Mars. There's polar ice caps on it. The sky is not actually red. It turns out that it's blue. They're going to be like pretending like they're landing people on there, and you're just going to be sucking this shit up.
Hey guys, it's quite simple. It's called identity capture, which is why it is targeted. The targeted audience is the public, because
it's just regular people.
Of course, that's it's a market. They capture an identity and they pack it in neatly and sell it to you.
Yeah, they're selling it to voters, and because NASA's funding comes from the government. And so if you have crappy whatever it is, the people are going to say, what are we spending all this money on NASA for? And they're going to talk to the congressman. The congressman are going to go back to Congress, and then they're going to say, I think we should just, what? People are not interested anymore. We should just cut NASA's funding.
No,
That's
well, there's more to it than that. It's simply first there's an existential.
How much more?
Well, you gotta first there's an existential crisis, and then they implant or supplant identity.
Who has the existential crisis? What do you mean by that? Who has that?
Children not being brought up correctly.
That's going to produce existential crisis. It's more so now than ever. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. So basically, just look at pretty much every family today, unfortunately. Parents are taught to not see their children, and the children already are present enough. Like a 1-year-old is already present enough. You can talk to them like an adult, pretty much. But since the parents aren't not even aware that their kids are that present, they are completely ignored. Add into that the environment that is toxic as it is, they get dissociated, and they're trying to cope with it. So they do get an existential crisis very early on, and then they get into an environment that has that identity capture presets everywhere you're looking.
Do you think, though, I think what you're implying then that NASA's missions and NASA's media production, because they have media, right? So because people want to see what they're doing, why aren't you showing us what you're doing? Well, okay, we'll have a media group, and the media group will show you what we're doing. So what you think that's contributing to this this progression of dissociative, whatever you call it, mental problems that kids have?
Well, this NASA would just be an example of what they're doing. The generality of what they're doing is that when the children or the child is in existential angst, they will look elsewhere than to their closest of kin or relation to find connection to the world, find reground. And
Movie
there you
stars,
now
video
have
games.
exactly there you now have all the presets, all the images that they now strive or go for. The problem is that they get now learned to go into habituating a character or impersonating some character, and they actually leave themselves and enter into a fictional world. And that's pretty much the reality we have right now. With that's where people are at, unfortunately.
I agree. I agree. What's happened is the rise say in the 20th century, now the 21st, of secular humanism. The self-determination and I don't know if it's worship of the self, or the self is the only thing that matters. Your view of yourself, your self-worth, or whatever it is, and your identity, all that sort of stuff is very inward-looking, and that's secular humanism at work. I don't know if, but NASA is a secular organization, so that could be part of it. Yeah.
Without going like trying to put blame on isms.
Are you a secular humanist?
No, it's you shouldn't be confusing the self with the ego or the persona or the character or an identity.
They're synonymous.
No, because now you're changing it over to the self, and when in actuality it is the self when studied with the self introspection and building that self awareness, which is the solvent to all this. Because the problem is that they are being identity captured, meaning they aren't themselves. So I'm not a proponent of secular humanism because self here now isn't truly the self, but it's the ego, and the word self is used wrongly. But it is actually going back to the self, which regrounds, or people around them who is able to just be themselves without going into any character, who will be sort of like, let's call it a vessel of alignment, for lack of better words. Their presence will just reground them pretty much immediately. But that doesn't mean that the character aren't still so embodied that they unfortunately have to work their way out of it. That can take many, many years.
I think what we've got a crisis of discipline. We've got a crisis of strength of character in people, where people have not been disciplined. Children are growing up with no discipline. They do whatever they want. They feel self-entitled. So the more they get, the more they want. The more they get, the more happy they are, and that is a problem. That's just a problem.
Yeah, that's what we really need right now is a lecture from a boomer.
From a what?
Are you a boomer?
Oh, a boomer. Right? Okay. Technically not, because I'm in the UK. So, yeah, I'll accept. Yeah, I say boomer. That's fine. I'm not American, so. But
are you?
I'll take the boomer. Okay, boomer.
Well, you can't be a boomer, dude. It's that's a generational
risky.
thing.
Risky. It gives what I found
is
a
boomer because you're from the UK. Where did you get that fucking shit from?
Because it's American term. Look it up. The baby boom after the war. Yes, it's American term.
You should always listen to your elders because they've already been through what you haven't yet.
You guys haven't been through the AI revolution. You guys haven't been through as much fluoride in the water.
We've been
you
through
guys haven't been through the vaccination.
Own,
you haven't been through the vaccinations, rollouts, whatever the fucking 60 needles they give these days.
You haven't been
what
raised.
You have and haven't got.
Well, you haven't been raised by parents who were traumatized as children, thinking they were going to be invaded and murdered by Nazis. My parents thought they were going to be invaded and murdered by Nazis, and so they carried that trauma.
Mine thought they were going to have atomic bombs dropped on them by the Russians.
Yes, and I was raised by those
generations
people.
These days think that there's no hope in the future. They don't want to have kids because it's an unholy world that they want to bring their kids into, and like the climate change is going to basically destroy everything. Tell me about your generational trauma, man.
I can tell you what's
everyone's got to deal with it.
You've got to live in a world that is such an easy bubble to live in. It's such a world that you've been given all the safety, all the comfort that you could ever want. The new generation, the younger generation has grown to think that the world is so awful when they've never seen awful.
Yeah. Okay, can I just respond to that in kind, man? Just recognize, right, that someone sitting on PlayStation all day, you might see that or perceive that as comfort, right?
But all day, are you kidding me?
Can I respond,
all
guys?
Day, I work almost 80 hours a week, right now. And you tell me I sit on PlayStation all day?
Cole, you're jumping all over me, man. Just chill out for 1 sec. Let me make my point, okay?
Well, so you might call that. Quit saying something that's wrong.
I said that basically what the PlayStation, you might perceive that as a sort of someone in a state of comfort. Yeah, what was wrong about that exactly that you want to jump down my throat for?
Because I don't stay on PlayStation all day. I work 80 hours a week.
I'm not talking about you, bro. I'm not talking. See, you think I'm talking. I'm not talking about you. We were talking about the kids of this generation.
It sounded
and now I bring up someone playing on PlayStation, and you think I'm trying to target you.
It did sound like that, Risky.
Oh, you guys are just victims. Can I finish off what I wanted to say?
Go on,
so generally,
let's
what I want to point out here, right, is I mean, dude, I was kind of aware of this about 3 or 4 years ago at least, but they've got kids, like specialized gyms for kids because the kids basically have not got proper motor function anymore because they grew up in apartments. They probably sat on PlayStation all day. They can barely sort of like, properly run. Like their feet are all in like screwed up from the shoes that they're wearing from Nike. They're ending up with chronic disease and illness as a consequence. Dude, I know that you guys like say like, oh look, we played in the forest and shit. We played outside. We were harder and all that shit.
We did.
We have issues with this
Dang right.
generations, man. Like, and they're in like, they've got like not the same kind of trauma, but don't deny the fact that there is a trauma going on there. If they've got specialized gyms for young children who basically can't walk properly because they grew up in an apartment, I mean, what, you want me to feel sorry for you because you got to play outside?
I would like for you to show me one example of a kid who can't walk properly because he grew up in an apartment. I think you're making that up completely.
They have okay, yeah, I am exaggerating slightly, but they definitely have. Like, I live next door to a guy. He opened up a specialized gym for young children, and I was like, I was focused in on like my studies at university at the time, and we were sort of that was a topic of conversation that was briefly at least brought up, and it sort of struck me as rather interesting. Is that I'm sitting here trying to design all these buildings for people to live in, and it turns out that the building's actually physically hurting them. So go figure.
You're right, Rick. You are absolutely right. You're totally right. It's the current environment for kids is awful. But what I'm trying to say is actually that is agreeing with what I'm saying. When Cole and I were kids, we ran outside and we played all day long outside. Okay, so we have benefits from
absolutely privileged.
Yes,
and scared of the Nazis invading. Apparently,
we were privileged. No, I wasn't. I was saying my pet. Never mind. So we were privileged being able to go outside and play in relative safety, not worried that we'd be taken and chopped into little bits. And this is without cell phones. That's what I went all day. The only reason I came home with my brothers is because it was too dark to see my hand in front of my face, and that made play impossible. And then we went home. Now imagine that today.
Now you've got a clown.
Imagine the cops would be called. The parents would be jailed if they allowed the parents would be jailed if they allowed the kids to go out at night like that.
Yeah, there'd be something to that effect. But I mean, dude, it's just there is a different war going on at the moment, and I think that's for like. Dude, your child, like all of your sporting stars are wearing like logos indicating to children to go eat poisonous food made by a clown. And
what?
You guys never probably really had to deal with that.
Give me.
McDonald's has emblems all over the place. If I turn on the TV and watch the sporting stars, these are supposed to be the sort of the reference point, the iconic healthy person. Look at how like fast they can run, high they can jump, all of this, and then they're wearing a McDonald's slogan. And then this chubby little kid saying, "He's my hero," and then he goes off and eats the clown food, and he can never actually, become like his hero because now he's got obesity and diabetes.
Well, that's basically it, Tarek. Yeah, and that's the thing with NASA. It's the same thing with NASA. It's identity.
Okay, so we're bringing it
capture.
back to NASA.
No, I think we're bringing it to the bigger point, which is identity capture. And this is just another example. Yeah, and it's a good point, actually.
Okay, I'll take your word for that. I don't know if that's... what you're saying is that NASA is contributing to this crisis of self or whatever. So please, I don't need to be exactly saying what you're saying, but I think I understand what you're saying. The accusation is that NASA is contributing to this problem that kids have. And I don't know if that's true. It's more inspiring more than anything else. It's inspiring for people to to get involved in stuff like that.
Well,
kids go to science schools that are geared towards putting them on a fast track to being engineers and working in aerospace and all these different jobs that give good money, and they you build stuff that really works. That's inspiring for kids.
Well, I'm not gonna be like anti everything that has to do with technology, but there's definitely a lot of problems with going into this idea or belief or vision about building things for the better of humanity and all that comes with that. To be fair, I think that kids and families, you alike, if you are a father or are to be one, I think you'd find a lot more. Okay, good. I think you'd find a lot more joy in just being with your family in nature and just living life rather than being a node in the system, turning a cogwheel for 10 hours a day or something like that.
Yeah. I agree. Charlie Chaplin had a movie that was based on that, wasn't it? Didn't you see that movie? It's a great big cogs, and he had a great big spanner. What do you call them? A wrench. And he's a cog in a wheel. Yeah, that's been the case for a long, long time.
No, I'm not trying to say like work is bad. Definitely, we gotta work. I mean, you gotta be working. You gotta be moving. You gotta be in movement. And work is just a way to try and make movement sound like exhausting. But it's supposed to be a work for your body that keeps you healthy. But it's not supposed to be just something where you're in contact with poison at all times. You know, your hands get oil on them and all kind of stuff. Like your hands are touching fine metals that dust off in small particles and just permeates your skin and all kind of stuff. You breathe it in and everything. You're not
It's
supposed to
interesting
be in
we-
that environment. Yeah.
Right. It's an interesting thing that we have the phrase "an honest day's work," and if back in the day, where a farmer, you could describe anyone who put in an honest day's work, it would be a farmer, a mechanic, those type of blue collar jobs. Those people, like landscapers, those put in, they come home and they're tired out, and they get up at 6 o'clock in the morning and do the same thing. That is an honest day's work, and I think there's a reason for that saying. So I don't know if you could say an office worker does an honest day's work.
Well, it really depends now on a larger setting. Like why are we doing the things that we're doing? In all fairness, just giving the regular slogans of building a future makes us kind of not even be in the presently here, and that's part
People
of
get
the dissociation campaign that we spoke of earlier.
People get lied to. People get lied
Of course
to.
they do.
They're told that they can be part of everyone's seen The Incredibles. Okay, so in The Incredibles, our hero, he works at an insurance company, and his boss, who's a little tiny man, that's symbolic, and he's a little tiny man. He says, "You're a cog in a wheel, and it's a whatever it is. Everyone is a part of the team, or part of the puzzle, or part of the machine, whatever." And so that's his view on things, and people get lied to. People get told that is what can bring you happiness in life. They get involved in that. They get into it. They can become a cog in the wheel. And they find out that's not fulfilling. Now, there are a couple of reasons for that. Often it's because they don't have a fulfilling family life. They don't have faith in God, so they don't have a really good grasp on themselves. And they are just empty people inside because the work is ultimately unfulfilling. Like working in insurance.
Everything's a lie or an agreed upon suggestion, right? Did you know that?
Everything?
Yeah. Everything's a lie or an agreed upon suggestion. Do you understand that?
Okay.
They fall into those two categories, yeah. So like when they tell you gas, ball, globe, distance, speed, you're moving, but you're sitting still, but you don't know, but you know. Yeah,
What about 2
it's
plus
all,
2
yeah.
equals 4? Is that a lie
Yeah.
or suggestion? 2
Well, I
plus
don't know where's the 2 at. Go find me a
I don't
2
know
in
if you can
nature,
have
and then we'll talk
everything.
about it.
Not everything is a lie, Demo.
It's
Yeah.
kind of that's a false.
Well,
No,
what's
it is
the
a false
truth?
dilemma. No, it's not. It's a false dilemma.
Or an agreed upon thing. It's either agreed upon, right? Just out of agreement, sure, make yourself feel better, or it's a lie that you just agreed upon.
No,
Where's the proof?
no.
Okay, prove everything right now.
Okay.
Prove everything.
If
Yeah.
I'm allowed to without being interrupted by you, I will.
Prove everything.
Well,
Okay,
prove anything.
So
Prove 2 plus 2 is 4.
No, there's
get
no
some-
2.
let me get some
Still haven't
grapes.
found the 2 yet in nature. I'm waiting.
Some 2
Keep
grapes. I
going.
got 2 grapes. I have 2 grapes.
No, there ain't 2
Democh,
grapes, weirdo.
No,
Democh,
Democh.
Grape.
hey man, Democh, if you're a real dude or man, you have existence, and that's true. That's not a lie and not agreed upon.
That's an
just
agreed upon
true.
thing. Yeah, it is. If you agree or I agree with you. Yeah, 100%.
You have hair follicles. That's a true statement.
No,
you have teeth.
No,
That's a
I
true
have to
statement.
agree
You have
with you
the-
what a follicle is or what hair would be or do I have them or not.
It's not. It's impossible.
You can choose to agree upon it, but it still is the case whether or not you agree or disagree.
Okay.
Like
but
you
is there
still
proof?
if you're still
Have you
exist like
proven your
if you're a
point?
man, hey man, yeah I am. If you're a man, if you truly are a man and not an LLM, for example, if you're a man right now, you have being, you still have existence whether or not you agree with it or not.
Well, the
I have-
LGBTQ would disagree with you on anything you just said there
I
about
have-
man or anything to do with man or woman or anything like that, right?
Yeah,
So would
you
God.
don't.
Hold on, bro. Let me finish. So would God or any creation or the devil or anything like that that's supposed to be all the above, right? Supposed to be everything in a ball. So what does that mean and how do we prove stuff? How do we guarantee that you're right about anything? 100%.
There are some things you can prove. If I have 2 beans and I add another 2 beans, how many beans have I got?
Don't know.
So you don't need to attack
Let's-
the person. It still remains the case that you have existence whether or not you agree or disagree. I mean, you're entitled to your opinion, although opinions do, end up destroying the world at this point.
It's
But
a
reality
false proposition.
remains.
Yes, reality. It's a false proposition to say that everything is a lie or just something we agree upon. There are some things.
I
2
say-
beans plus 2 beans equals 4
That's
beans.
4 beans. You just have more beans. And if you take some away, you
Yes.
have less. If you add more, you have more.
No one's seen Blackadder in here, I suppose. No one.
Yeah, but there's no numbers in nature. You're putting that. Yeah,
no
that's
numbers
you.
in nature.
Prove a number. Prove a number 1 or number 10 or number
That's
0.
nonsense.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
You can't.
That's
Me
I don't. Yeah, no.
Hey, Democh,
Proof
there's
number.
one sun.
Yes.
Prove me wrong.
Well, not for Jaren when everybody's got their own personal one in their dome, and the other guy. So they've all got
That's the
their own
same
personal
sun,
suns.
dude. There's not
Yeah,
8
good
billion
story.
suns out there, okay?
Yep, that's what they believe. If Bob has his
This-
personal dome sun and you got yours next to him, and I told you, I asked him, do they converge? He said no. So that means he's got his own. So I don't care
That's
what
not
you're
what I
saying.
believe,
That's
so.
his belief. You have to talk to him about that.
That's not what he
How many,
believes.
how many
That's a
Polarises are there,
misrepresentation.
Democh?
I
How
don't
many
know. if
There
there's
could be a
any-
few.
I
Don't
know if
go
there's
there.
any
It could be a
Polarises.
couple.
I don't know if
Apparently,
there's
there's
any
actually 2.
Polarises.
Well, no, there's
Yeah.
3. There's 3 stars accumulated, apparently, and they call it all
Yeah,
Polaris.
it's not one star.
So
Yeah.
now it's not a Polaris, it's Polarises. Okay.
Well,
So
Polaris.
nobody
this appears to be
knows.
one,
Better
and we think it may be
Yeah.
more than one. That's
It
what I've heard.
appears, it appears, but
What do I
could have,
know?
would have, should have. Yep. Cool. And we're still not proving anything. Good deal.
Well, you can prove that 2 + 2 is 4.
No, you can't.
There's,
I don't
there's,
have a 2
there's
yet.
things you can prove. You
I
can't
don't
breathe
have a 2.
underwater unaided. Let's just say that. That's a simple sentence. You cannot breathe underwater unaided.
No, that's a fishy
That's
statement.
true.
I'm not sure about that one. Someone might be able to.
Pun intended, I hope.
I was driving in downtown Atlantis. My rented Barracuda was overheating, so I pulled into a Shell station. Apparently, seal had broken. That's a lot. No one ever heard that. Oh, come on.
Boo.
Where's the cricket
No.
sound? Where's that? We need a soundboard.
Where's the
here.
crickets?
Oh, we do have a soundboard.
Do the crickets.
Maybe.
I can even refine it.
Someone who's got a Google. If you've got a Google, type in, I was driving in downtown Atlantis and I was in a rented Barracuda and it was overheating. Type those words in, any combination of those words, and you will get a song. And it's every bad fish joke you've ever heard in your life you're put into one song. So he goes to a bar. It's an oyster bar. It's a bit of a dive. And he said hi to the owner. His name was Gil. And, it's just on and on and on with these fish jokes. It's so great.
And the dolphin said hello to the spoon.
Well, there was a band, Tommy Dorsal, and they had all the groupers. The groupers were there to just so they could see the bass player, the bass player.
There was somebody in the back
Finn.
finding
Let's
Nemo.
get these jokes.
No one is going to get their Google and look at what I'm saying, because it is a terrific song. It's really funny. It's cringe.
I'm
throughout,
actually really scared of cringe. Cringe hurts.
but it's funny.
I'm sure it is.
Did they have a good choral arrangement?
It's got a good chorus. The song is called Wet Dream.
Oh my God.
Look up Wet Dream by Kip Adota. It's great.
Well, I think we still have existence, though, whether or not Democh has an opinion
okay.
about it.
Wet Dream lyrics.
Or
Here
we
we go.
just do.
I'm gonna make you listen to this.
And where's the stick? Shouldn't there be a stick or an object on Earth where the sun drops down, but and it marks the spot of total termination darkness for half the ball, right? And that would mark a 3959.2, wouldn't it? The big black shadow that we're looking for. Where's that at?
Democh, I'm curious. Why is it always so that your main strategy is to ridicule the globe proponent with all this?
I don't know what that has to do with facts or information, but I'm looking for the dark Terminator line, and I don't know why you're afraid of truth. So if I bring something to the table and you're afraid of it, jump on board with trying to prove it right or wrong with the thing I'm talking about. Don't be afraid of discussing things that are actual or not actual in reality. So the black thing called the black Terminator line of the darkness of the sun, where can we trace it at? Where does it go past when?
For your note, I'm not afraid, dude.
So nobody.
Sunset.
Where's it at? Can we trace it?
Yep.
Where? How?
When it becomes sunset, when the sun sets, that's when the Terminator line crosses.
Is it a horizontal line or is it a curve?
It's a curved line, of course.
Well, you'll have to show and prove that.
Oh, so you agree then that there is a Terminator line?
No. That's what you'll have to prove. You don't know what that means.
There is a Terminator line. Everybody knows.
You're welcome to understand.
Prove to whom?
You'll need to prove your claim.
Yeah.
Yeah, prove there's a Terminator line.
So you guys have updated your language
whom?
to call the arise and the termination of you now, right?
Nice.
Finally.
No, I'm looking for the black.
It's just another way of saying
between day and night.
You can't tell the difference between day and night? Demo? Come on, buddy. You're better than
No,
that.
I've never saw the line.
The Terminator
on your
line.
globe
The
that
Terminator line is
divides day
a
and night.
well-known term.
Yeah, well,
Terminator line is not necessarily an obscure term. If you know things.
How thick is it? How thick is the line of darkness and light?
It's a
How
thickness.
thick is it, Wesley?
It's
You
not.
don't know how thick your line is?
No, it's
You
not.
think
Well,
a Terminator line is actual like a line? No, it's a
I don't know what
line.
it
He
is.
thinks it's a
You
line.
believe in it. You believe there's a
Democh.
black line tracing something on the ground.
No, it's not a black
all
line.
the way in a perfect line.
It's a
Silly
line.
guy.
It's
He actually thinks it's a line.
It's not
No.
a
So there isn't
line.
a line. So
No.
when the
Of
course
ISS
it's a
shows you
line.
that
What do you
beautiful
mean?
black line,
What do you mean he thinks
It's
it's a
not.
line? Of course it's a
It
line.
isn't.
It's not
a
a.
line.
It's the boundary between light and dark. That's all that it is. They
Yeah, the
call it
line on the
linear
ground where one side's light and one side's dark.
Yep, you got it.
That's
Yes, it's
a
a fucking
line
line.
in the same respect. In the same respect that the equator is a line. It's not a literal line.
it's not a physical line. It's just
Yeah, there's not a line drawn on the ground, but there is a line of light versus one side's light, one side's no light.
It's simply the meeting between the sky and the ground that terminates
That
the
didn't make
view,
any
giving the
sense.
appearance of a line, but there's not an actual physical line there.
no, there's supposed to be.
Perhaps a more accurate way was be saying how wide is the Terminator line on the ground.
Well, it does have a
Right.
width, right? Because there's
Yes.
part where you have like dusk.
It depends on your your viewpoint from the ground. But the further you go away, it will become a more clear line. as you
Well,
go further away
the
from it.
problem is that it's like 4 kilometers or something before the view is terminated. So anything beyond that can't be assessed. So every study that the Flat Earth does is restricted to 10 kilometers with like 2.34 centimeters drop in the curvature or whatever they're trying to debunk or not. And whatever is claimed to be the case. It's just nonsense. That entire endeavor. That's just, you're never going to actually be able to establish one way or another with that because the view is terminated.
Does a beach ball have a line on it?
No, there's just areas of different colors. Do you see how stupid
Okay.
this fucking is? Do you see how
Agreed.
dumb this is?
Agreed. I agree with you, Jeremy. I just wanted to see what everybody else thought. I would not call
Well,
those lines.
I
on
would
a
say
beach
they're
ball.
lines. They're lines. Yes, there's lines on a beach ball, dude. Of course.
I would not say they're lines, but okay.
I will just say that the beach ball has a surface.
Are there lines on it?
I mean, if you draw them,
No. Yeah. Nothing is added to it. It's got the color between white and red and green or whatever it is, but they're not lines.
There's a line there of the color change. A line.
That I would not call that a line, but
Okay, so if I take a pencil and draw a line down a sheet of paper, you would say, "Oh, there's no line there. There's just an area where there's pencil and an area where there's not
what I would
pencil." It's
say,
just fucking
what I would
stupid,
say,
dude.
there's no line is if you colored one half black and left the other half white. Would you say there's a line there then? I would say there's a line of demarcation, like to be more specific.
What if I just draw a pencil mark through just one single pencil line through the middle of the paper? You would say, "Oh no, there's just an area where it's white, and then an area where
No,
it's
that's-
dark, and an
that's a
area where
line.
it's white."
That's a line because it's a line, but
It's just an
I would
area
not
where
call.
there's different colors. What do you mean?
Okay, hold on a second. I understand where you're going, and but if half the sheet of paper was black and half was white, would you say there's a line?
well, this question is like asking if there's a cat there when the cat is not there.
Okay, Jeremy.
Exactly,
would you
Wes.
call that a
The
line?
cat. Think of the cat.
Oh my gosh.
Like
Yes, I would say
okay,
there's a line there, dude. Yes.
Okay, that's
There's a
fine.
line where there's a color change is happening.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I would call that a line of demarcation. I wouldn't call. I like it. It's confusing to call it just. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
text
mean, you
message.
got so many different kinds of lines. Like, what kind are you speaking of? Everything from lines of separation to absorption lines.
Yeah, you can rack lines up all the time.
Nice.
Yeah, but where's that jet black beautiful line that the ISS showed?
You see it from the ISS. That's the law of identity, buddy. Identity.
Are you crazy? Are you okay? If I see it from the ISS, it should be touching the ground where my feet are. I should see it on
Yes,
the
but
ground by my feet.
You're
too.
too close. You're too close to see the demarcation.
That didn't make any sense. So the
But-
ground that's shadowed on the ground by a shadow against the ground on the ground where my feet are lined up next to it, I'm not going to see that. Okay, good story.
Yep, you got it.
Oh, you're gonna
These
see
things
it.
are close.
You're gonna see it. What do you mean? Yeah, you got it. He's gonna see it, dude. What does that mean?
Well, you're not. You're not going to see a definitive shadow on the ground in most cases.
Well,
What?
You can time lapse it. He's gonna see it, bro. It's gonna happen in front of his face.
Well, then why is he saying he can't see it?
I don't know. Maybe he might have vision issues. I don't know.
Siak, where you been, bro? It's been a while. You all right?
I've been imprisoned.
I want to know the shape of it. What shape
Are
is
there
it? Like,
lines
is it arc?
in that
Does it
prison?
go smooth? Where's it at? And who's got it? Like, where's it at? Like, what?
Is it in
Yeah.
your pocket? Is this line in your pocket right now?
I was joking, by the way.
Well, who
Are
go
we
outside?
sure that
And
We
film
showed
the
them it's not
ground.
an LLM.
Somebody should be
I'm
filming
pretty
it right
sure.
now. Terminator line on the ground of Earth.
Yeah, you saw it
Would
on the
be
ISS.
suspicious of some
There, you
people.
filmed it.
Yeah, but
No,
you see,
stop
there
saying.
is
That might maybe an LLM.
the termination or terminator phenomena happens every day. I mean, you can just drive your car if it's a good day in the sun. Drive down the road in the U.S. You'll see it on the ground right there. You don't even need it to be in the horizon or towards the horizon. It can just be on the road.
There's too much light scattering at dusk. You won't be able to see it.
Yeah.
In my close up.
I've seen it just like 10, 20 meters up ahead.
But you see the edge of the sunlight.
You could see cloud. I think you could see the shadows of the clouds, but I don't think you could see the shadow of the Earth because there's too much scattering of light, and you get the dawn and dusk effect.
You actually get a longer. I think you get a longer dusk in the southern hemisphere. Dusk is longer in the wintertime. Hold on, Democh, before you go on to something crazy, bro. That you guys don't have your southern hemisphere matching with dusk times of the northern hemisphere for some reason. Now Zanuck told me it was southern hemispheric refraction. Does that sound right?
I do not know.
Southern hemispheric refraction. Just look into that.
Has anyone got a Google?
I know a flashlight and a ball, right?
How does the FE model, if it exists, address the hemispheres if they exist? I mean, I think this is one of the that's one of the things that keeps being brought up, right?
Your qualifier there was the answer.
Yes.
Well, it's kind of difficult to establish what's really going on, though, since we haven't mapped the ocean, so we don't actually know what's in between land masses.
They think dirt's not holding the water, dude. They think gravity holds the water to mud that way. They think gravity is the thing that's on the top of the water that way, holding the surface this way.
Which way is that way?
That's the belief. With nobody diving out of it. Nobody swimming out of that water.
Which way is that way?
Point your finger. Right there.
Have you ever seen when it was raining? It wasn't raining, and then all of a sudden, like the rain came into you.
Like at a sideways angle, you mean?
No, like it's not raining, and then you can see the.
Oh yeah.
The rain comes into you, and now it's raining on you. It didn't just start raining, like it came into you.
Yep.
It does.
Say there's a line. There's a line there where it's raining, and a line where it's not raining, right?
Oh no, I agree with that.
It does that in Georgia. I've driven, and it was sunny, and there was a line in the road. One side, and I'm not kidding you, it's the difference between 2 yards. One side, no, what isn't? 1 yard. One side was soaking wet, the other side was bone dry. 1 yard. I felt like the Truman Show.
If you agree with that line, why don't you agree with the Terminator line?
We can't see it for the same reason.
Which way is it lined up, Wesley? North, south, or east, west?
You're too close.
So if you can't see something, then it's not there?
No, I never said that.
Well, you said we can't see it, so it's not there.
No, yes, it is there. You can see it from space.
Oh my God!
So if you can see it from space, then it's there.
Yep.
Yes.
The same way. Well, actually,
like
I don't know.
On the ground, right?
On the moon. I bet you could see it on the moon because there's no atmosphere. But if you were on the moon and it had atmosphere, you wouldn't be able to see it. But we can see it clearly from the Earth.
Oh my God!
You okay, Democh? What happened?
No, we can stand next to a pyramid that you can see from space, and you can look down and see we're standing next to it if you zoom in good enough. Where's the Terminator line? Where's the Terminator line? The same thing as the pyramid.
Where do you get a pyramid from? What pyramid?
Well, there isn't
the Great Pyramid.
Man, it's pretty simple, guys. Like I'm just even holding a book in my hand here right now, and if I look at the edge of the cover, I can look straight into the termination. But there's no line, obviously. But there's just a termination.
Mm-hmm.
So not a line.
Well, it gives the appearance of a line, but it doesn't have to be because I can look at the edge or a point on the book, like a 90-degree angle into the angle. And there's, what would you call that? A point, right?
Rainbow shadowing.
How many arc seconds are in your 90-degree? How many arc seconds are in your 90-degree angle? Democh wants to know if you got them in your pocket.
Wesley's reaction to Democh is a hoot to listen to. It's so good.
I've outran the rain I got home before it caught up to me like a horror film monster chasing me behind on the street because it would outspeed it on a bicycle.
Yeah.
It's a fun
You see
memory.
some of these people like the tornado chasers. They can, if it's going slow enough, they can sometimes outrun it and beat it to the next intersection. It's pretty cool.
Terminator chasers.
Yeah, in an airplane, you could do that.
What are they looking at? If the shadow's not hitting the ground, what is it hitting, and how does it making a shadow on Earth?
It is hitting the
It is
ground.
hitting the Earth, but you can't see it when you're standing there. Are you okay, Wesley?
Yeah, you can. You can see day and then you can see night, right? So you know, in sometime in between there, it changed, right?
No, we're looking for the Terminator line that proves the globe. Funny guy.
You've seen it. You already told us about it on the ISS.
No, we keep hearing you obfuscate and tell us you got a rainbow of shadows somehow.
When
you
did
have a
I say
rainbow gradient
when did I ever
of
say rainbow of
gradual.
shadows?
You have gradual nothing, no Terminator. That's what you said.
You said we had a shadow rainbow? I'm writing that down.
I
Hold
love
on. Wesley 2026.
I love Democh when he just like says things and attributes it to people. I don't think I've mentioned rainbow one time today.
Yeah, he doesn't ask questions. He makes statements.
Rainbow boy.
He's very confident too. I'm trying to think of a good example of this, but like if you zoomed in on a like a drawing, like a comic book, if you took a very close up photo, you wouldn't. I mean, it gradually gets darker. If you get in close enough, you won't be able to make out the line anymore. It'll just be a large shaded area that goes from lighter to darker. It's the same kind of thing.
You're telling me if you draw a crayon, take a crayon and draw it down the middle of a sheet of paper, white sheet of paper, red crayon. You're telling me there's not an area where there's red and an area where there's white. There's no gradient.
Yes, there is. Yeah, no, that's correct. But then there's an area with both.
What?
The shadow. Talking about like a real zoomed in microscope level where there's like little particles sticking and sometimes not sticking.
The fuzzy part, Jeremy. The
You got it.
microscopic
That's
fuzz.
exactly what Don and Dusk are, Democh.
He's got a fuzz layer shadow. The shadow fuzz.
That's the rainbow?
Yes, that's his shadow rainbow. Yep, the fuzz layer.
The day that Jeremy agrees with Democh. I love it.
You're teaching us, Wesley.
I'm trying not to teach. I'm trying to share my ideas. But
Wesley is a student. All right. Grasshopper.
No, Democh
Jeremy
is
really,
picking it
Jeremy
up.
really showing his age there, Grasshopper.
Daniel, son.
Wax on, wax off.
So how does Eratosthenes, like, how does that even work if the shadows can't be seen? And then, like, if you get in an airplane, can you see the shadow that Eratosthenes was using?
Real easy. The shadow of something very small and very close versus the shadow of the Earth. These things are small.
Yeah, but there's a gradient. There's the shadow rainbows there, though. Still,
Stop.
right?
Jeremy, you need to stop.
Are you saying there's no shadow rainbow with the Eratosthenes sticks? Is that what you're saying?
Don't put words into my mouth. I'm not.
So you're saying it is there or is not there? Which one is it? Is there or is there not a shadow rainbow?
I'm not answering it. That's actually a good analogy, but I'm not the one that came up with it, so I'm going to give credit to Democh. In a rainbow, can you pick out
You almost said shadow rainbow.
In a rainbow, in an actual rainbow, not something that you drew, can you pick out the exact spot where it turns from orange to yellow?
I have no idea.
Yeah, that's the whole point about the Terminator line up close.
I know on Reading Rainbow you definitely could.
Take a look.
Is there a shadow rainbow? Is there a shadow rainbow on Eratosthenes sticks?
You zoom in close enough, there's a shadow. There's a rainbow. It's grayscale rainbow though.
Okay, so you don't even know where to start measuring.
Oh lordy!
How do you even know how to do this Eratosthenes thing? Where do you start? Where's the shadow at? Where's the shadow start?
That's called tolerance or precision. So thank you. I agree with you 100%.
That you don't know how to do the Eratosthenes measurement? All right.
No, I do, but it has its tolerances, its level of accuracy.
I don't think you guys even know how to do this Eratosthenes measurement.
They can't. They don't
Let me
got
ask you
shadows.
this, Wes. Let me ask you this. If you took a screenshot of some Eratosthenes measurements, right, and then put it on your phone, and then you put your phone in your pocket, would you have the Eratosthenes measurements in your pocket?
What kind of question is
It's a real fucking question. Answer the question.
Yes, of course I would.
All right, just checking. Somebody's trying to say you couldn't have measurements in your pocket earlier.
Who said that?
I don't know, bro. She got crazy. Brenda said it. Fucking shocker.
Had some Mark minutes in her pocket.
Sorry, I missed it. I think maybe I'm not. Should I be sorry that I missed that, Jeremy, or no? Was it worth it?
No, you're better off. I wasted like 20 minutes of my life on that.
I love your commitment, though. I'll give you that.
Hey, Wesley, this isn't a dating platform.
Why wouldn't the equator line up with the dark, the dark, beautiful, dark, perfect darkness shadow of the equator line? That's how thick is your equator line. You don't have a thickness of an equator line either to match your Terminator.
What does that even mean?
I don't know, equator guy on a globe.
Well, then
Guy
why
that
do you
should
ask the
know this
question?
information.
If you don't know what it means, why are you asking the question?
To find out and learn what an equator line is so I can go test the thickness of it.
So the equator line splits the northern hemisphere from the southern hemisphere. It has
I'll say because the
nothing.
equator line stopped dodging.
Somebody mute Jeremy.
I'll say because the freaking equator line, dude. We need to know these things.
We gotta know this, dude. So we need to measure and test it.
It's infinitesimally small.
What?
I don't. How are you measuring it? With the shadows that you don't know where they start and stop?
With
The
my
shadow
ruler.
rainbow shadows?
That's scientific units of measurement.
Sheep
Decimal.
units.
Small.
Yes, sheep units.
Are you telling me it's a Planck length? So the equator is a Planck length, right, Wesley?
He's rage baiting Jeremy. Don't do that.
You said it. The
I didn't
smallest.
say Planck length.
You said
I
the
did not say
smallest
Planck length.
increment of measurement, did you not?
Rainbow and now Planck. I never said any of those two words
You
before
did.
you.
Planck length it. Yes, you did.
I never said Planck length once.
You said the smallest measurement.
God, here we go back to quantum. Which, like when I first learned quantum, that was measurement of any amount within a formula. That's what quantum used to mean.
You guys want to hear what the books of physics and astronomy, New York Times books of physics and astronomy, have to say about quantum theory? It says that it's a joke, pretty much. Let me find the page.
Nobel Prize winning joke. Recently again. Officially overtaking GR and SR. Stuff like Max Planck maximum and Max Planck minimum were theoretical, a framework that proved very useful to work off of.
Well, now we can prove it. We have a physical thing called the equator, and we can Max Planck it out.
I found a page. You guys want to hear it?
Jeremy? That's Jeremy.
Yeah, Jeremy,
Again,
you want to hear?
again, I'll take a picture and post it in the chat. So apparently it says that Dr. Heisenberg and those who discussed his conclusion would have decided that his particular section of the British Association is composed of quiet and polite but determined lunatics who have created a wholly illusory mathematical world of their own.
Hey, don't be going to use common sense.
Well, that's just true. I mean, that's the nature of reality. That's been half my point.
No, the nature of reality isn't that it's illusory, but the models about it claiming what it is, those are illusory.
They're frameworks. When you speak to someone that is literally PhD, they will tell you everything they do is based on a framework, theoretical framework that works within a certain scale.
Of course. It is just like this thing continues on saying. The conception is that they and their kind alone have a proper view of, in quotes, reality, and that the rest of us live in a dream world fashioned by ill-understood words. So it's really just a pissing contest, and it's about who gets to define reality by theory.
Yeah, that's like
Yes.
stripping away all of the, like science meant knowing. Original meaning in Greek of theory was to witness something, but we got Latin version, which is to postulate, conjecture, and then it's like it seems like they mix those two, and this conjecture became laws that are taught as fact and not actual theoretical framework from which to we've worked off of for a certain scale.
What's even more interesting is that they admit to something very important in the mainstream. Down on the page under the subchapter Action Supersedes Substance, it says on the second sentence there, all mental pictures we have formed of bodies moving through space are thrown into confusion, that being by quantum theory. I repeat, all mental pictures we have formed of bodies moving through space.
Definitely. The frameworks fall apart when you scale out rogue stars, which observing, whether you trust astronomy or any of that shit, is breaking free from the mainstream. They don't adhere to galactic configurations or anything. And there's other things, but like the true form and function of the heart, these things are going to take a long time for mainstream academia to acknowledge and admit that they were wrong. Again, they got so much time investment and emotional investment, even whether they recognize it or not. And I know because I was one of them.
Yeah, usually it's the way you've been identity captured and then you become aware. But most they just get recaptured. Personally, I know of a woman some years back where at first she was just the regular, the I guess the pretty woman, and then she was the odd one off the flock. Then she, I guess, became a lot of different things. But the main thing is that eventually she was a witch, and then a very spiritual person, and now she's a Christian. It's sad how that goes.
Very, very. Especially, like I couldn't help but go because I'm starting off local thinking, right? Selfish kind of, but not really. Just me, my family, my loved ones. And I guess that might be selfish, and I'm a selfish. But looking back on our the way we communicate phonetically, and going back to learning English and what's occurred with vowel shifts and whatnot, and knowing that original English sounded way more like German than what we're speaking today. And what else occurred during these vowel shifts? It wasn't just vowels and it was just English. Once I got through that part, and then I started recognizing, oh, this has happened all over the place. In some places, and small communities maintain a knowledge of vowels flowing. And anyway, I'll hush on that one.
What about the idea of belief, right? Can you wean yourself off of belief?
I think so. I thought I knew stuff, but dude, the gigantic difference between what I thought I knew and what is, I was an idiot. and I'm still very nescient and try not to be ignorant.
Yeah, you can definitely let go of belief. It just has a lot to do with you being willing and able to, and you sort of also just gotta forgive yourself for having had the belief. Usually, you'll feel like a fool when you let go, but what will happen is that you'll just feel so much better because it's like you're being depressed, meaning letting go of pressure in a way.
Like if I was to learn that shape, let's say like a double lobe peanut or some kind of crazy shit, you know, to me, it would not really affect me because I believe I put my britches on one leg at a time, just like I do right now. I don't think it would affect my loved ones or anything or how we go about our daily lives. But
Well,
other people, everybody is individually different, right? Um, it would
well,
be
a lot
quite
of it,
shocking.
yeah, well, a
Yeah,
lot
that's
of
why.
it has to. Sorry.
Well, I said that's why I asked about the belief thing because a lot of people go from one belief to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next. Like whether conspiracy, whether true, whether with like the idea of understanding or knowing, even right. It is all
Yeah,
under a form of belief. So yeah,
yeah, that's what I call the identity capture, or in this sense, recapture. Because every time they let go of a belief, there is this type of existential angst, or it's existential because the belief formulates a worldview or a connection, or it gives meaning to what they have difficulty with, well, just being with, which is existence or having being. Because they have been meddling with the questions of existential status, which is who am I, what can I know, what exists, is my hand on the table when it is, why do I doubt this, and all that kind of stuff. And so they do look for something safe and immediate, that's close and approximate, that gives a sense of meaning immediately, because they're afraid of this like liminal space or intermedium where they're truly actually being themselves and are exploring it again. And they have almost no experience being there, so it's a very scary area to explore from. So the safest thing to do then is just to be absorbed by something else that takes over.
you know the difference between knowing something or believing it. Like something shown to you in a mainstream media, something picture. Like, is that picture actually worth the 1,000 words that they told you about? Or is it worthless because you can't prove it anyway? Like a video of space or a rocket going to the moon, right? If you can't prove it yourself, where does that actual thing lie in the idea of reality for you, in the realm of reality, right? Or belief or knowing?
Yeah, which is why I like everything that I've written about here, which people have joked so much about, is actually me. I've gone back to first principles and I've rewritten Parmenides. I didn't actually know that Parmenides was stating that what I have been writing. I just found it through common sense, really, not in the quantum theory common sense way, but just by actual common sense. And I put that into words. I created first principles, put that into words. And what I have done, if people comprehend it, is that I've actually managed to create another, it could end up being a new era, actually. And we can get away from this dissociation slash representation campaign, which is what is causing people to be, stepping away or out, or having a huge filter in front of themselves, not giving them the ability to just be in the world. So I that's really my contribution, that I'm trying to, the work is done actually, being in the world.
So can you say it's like a set thing, like a I don't know, like a diagnosis that one would give to a
I
person that would be behind the desk or behind the stars or the space or the knowledge of this guy's smart or dumber, like an Einstein or like a Sigmund Freud, for instance? Do you think that's
yeah, that's a
that's a
good question.
mental problem, or? Well, I'm just saying, like the idea
Yeah.
that you're gonna calculate someone else's awareness or sobriety in life or reality. To me, I find that weird. I think that's a sickness.
I see what you're saying, but you see, those in power, they want to define reality. Um, I think it is up to us who don't have any interest in wielding power for the sake of abuse, pretty much, to be like a responsible parent and restore what is actual. This is not about trying to, again, use power to force people into a world. It's about putting things right. and just putting into words what's pretty much basic principles that are actualities, and try and formulate that to the best of our capacity, and then go on from there. Parmenides did try that, or he did with what is. Some may call, law of identity. Not exactly the same, but that's a little tangent. But nevertheless, it just says that you are, existence is. And then the unfortunate thing that Parmenides did is that it went into Plato and so on and so forth, is that everything went into just being representation and opinion and belief. And that's what has led to where we're at right now. It's just all just opinionated. And it's just, you're forced to meet at a tribunal where you're supposed to add to the theory. And anyone who disagrees with that addition, or being someone who just like a professor goes into a field to add on to it, they are being gaslit as being thinking of themselves as being against or just having like delusions of grandeur or anything. Like you're wired to throw them into the den of or you're wired to scapegoat them, because that's part of that identity capture. Like they're making what restores the system into an enemy, and when it's trained to throw them under the bus and try and make anything that's actually intelligent sound like a person who is just like, out for themselves.
They try to pigeonhole everything into quantification when it's like instead of the one thing or the one idea being the controller, it should be the all actually decide and agree on the ingredients anyway, because that's, if that's what it is, at the end of the day, it should be the group coming up with the idea of forward with like making new words or doing.
So it's not really talking about any specific video or the information that these guys brought to the table, but more along the lines of not using the mainstream narrative to demonstrate different cause and effect relationships. When it comes to energy, electricity, magnetism, light. The other idea someone shared earlier was the idea of the ether being like an impediment field, the lowest form, I think you said. I thought that was an interesting idea. Like, does anybody even agree what the etheric field is, or if there is one? And how would you describe it? Like, I see some funky stuff happening, like coupling instantaneous action at a distance. Like, there's no impediment there, right? So, well, how would you, quantify, describe what ether is?
Well, I know you can go to Walmart in the automotive section and get this can of ether, and when you push the button, it creates an etheric field, and you can smell it too. It gives you quite a start if you're not expecting it.
So, would your answer be that whatever the bendy space-time is made of?
Starting fluid? I don't know. I'll have to think about that.
No, I'm just saying, like, whatever is holding Earth together is the bending and warping of space-time, whatever that's made of.
I was just trying to be funny. I'm sorry. I wasn't really following. I'm not much into ether, other than for starting engines.
Well, do you believe in the bending and warping of space-time?
I recognize that it's a way to describe, it's a way to model it.
How do you model bendy space-time? Like,
I don't know all the form. What do you? I can tell you the formulas without looking them up, but you can look them up. They're just formulas for modeling things differently than Newtonian. The end result is basically the same, especially for things here on Earth or close to the sun.
What's up, Jesse?
Oh, how's it going, Red Cloud?
Not bad. So the bending of space-time manifests itself in the appearance or the phenomenon of mass seeming to attract mass, and we can observe that. So
We can.
the space-time is a theory, but I think the gravity idea is that observed.
How did they demonstrate mass attracting mass?
Cavendish and looking at orbits and things falling to the ground. I mean, what do you want?
So you think Einstein's full of shit then? There's no need for him.
No, I just think it's expressed in a different way, a different idea.
So they're both ideas?
They're both
One is
models.
Yeah, one is something you can say, I think mass attracts mass. Okay, so you can go and show that to be the case. Bending and warping in space-time, I don't know what you can do with that. So I don't really pay attention to that because I don't know what I could do with it.
Yeah, but
But I can observe gravity.
Yeah, but mass attracting mass and what
And
attribute?
measure it.
Yeah. Like they had the whole big picture of what mass doing what to what other mass. The claim is balls of mass doing stuff with balls of mass.
That's
Going to
only
the
like
center of gravity and
interdimensional
stuff. Yeah.
space-time.
Right. Right. So all we get to see is if you drop something, it'll hit the
I
ground,
think it's a
maybe.
red herring.
Yeah.
Right, this is kind of interesting. So Einstein is irrelevant to anything to do with the globe because it's just an idea. It's just an idea.
Yes.
How about any of his ideas? Are any of them E
No.
equals MC squared?
I mean, those are things that people put into practice. But the idea is space-time. I don't know. I don't know what they can do to put that into practice. But it doesn't really matter. The shape of the Earth is what it is, regardless of what theories people have, including Einstein.
Energy equals mass times acceleration isn't exactly right either. Or else why would you have the drop off law? Like the law of breaking down, right? So if something's hotter at the source and colder towards the outside edge, that debunks that, right? Right? E equals MC squared. So the energy that went away from the sun didn't get E equals MC squared, did it? When you reversed it back to the sun is when it
Thank
got E
you.
equals MC squared. Correct?
No mommy yet?
Then she'll be on the way over when she's still.
Oh, she is back.
She's still making tea.
Hot mic.
Hot micing.
Tea on the way back over.
She didn't go to town.
You're hot
Hot
mic.
micing.
The Moors and Red Cloud, if you're interested, I just put in the chat the difference between Newton's gravity and Einstein's gravity. So you can see the formulas basically are reduced to the same thing, except Einstein's gravity has a factor for the that based on the masses, on the larger mass, where when the larger mass begins to approach the speed of light or whatever, then it starts to adjust it slightly. But for like the mass of a 1 kilo, the weight of a 1 kilogram mass on Earth is like almost identical using Newton's as it is using Einstein. It's only for certain situations where you get actually even a very slight difference.
Yeah, because if you're standing on the speed of light, so if Earth was the speed of light, right, you wouldn't even know because you'd be like, nope, zero. Right, Jesse?
I always wondered if I was driving at the speed of light, what would happen when I turned my headlights on?
You'll never know, would you?
In the face.
Well, I'm saying you can't do that. That's not even a possible thing. So you're saying that you don't even know.
What do they see
Yeah.
on the view screen at warp? Star Trek question. When they're at warp and they've got a view screen, what do they see?
Exactly what you see in
This
reality.
view screen would be useless.
No, exactly what you see in reality is what you would see.
I don't know.
No, because this is relativity right here. You're living in it. Every explanation for the explanation they gave was for how reality is supposed to work. So if you're wondering what it looks like, to look through light speed or relativity and all that garbage, welcome. You're here. Here you are. Look around.
What's your favorite food, Democh?
I don't have a favorite.
Well, come on. I've been telling people that there's a human inside there. Behind your script, there's a human, and I'm trying to bring the human out. What's your favorite pastime?
All right, Red Cloud. What do you think about Jesse trying to say that Einstein's math matches Newton's, therefore it can be validated, whereas before you took the stance that Einstein cannot be validated?
I didn't say it can't be validated.
Okay, well, how would you clarify your position on Einstein? He says it's an idea. Ideas can't be validated, right?
Their math can't be
What I
validated.
really meant to say is, or the intent in what I was saying is that the bending and warping of space-time isn't really pertinent to the question of the shape of the Earth. So I would consider it a red herring. Like being critical of the idea of dark matter is a red herring. When the topic and subject and the question at hand is the shape of the Earth. That's all. It's critical, but no, I just wanted to point that out.
Do you think Einstein's idea could work on a flat Earth?
I don't think so. No. I don't know how a flat Earth could exist in reality. So I don't know how Einstein could be applied to flat Earth, or any physics could be applied to flat Earth. Because if you believe the Earth was created naturally or supernaturally, it has to function the same way. So
What do you think?
Go ahead.
Why do you think Einstein won the Nobel Prize for this?
Why do I think?
Yeah. Well, what about the work or the man, or was it all just fake
I think
news?
it's irrelevant. I don't think it has much relevance. I mean, I'm just honest. I don't think it's got much relevant what Einstein said or did or theorized about space-time or whatever else.
That's interesting. So basically, sum it up. Talking about Einstein is not talking about the shape of the Earth.
Correct. That's my opinion. Any more than talking about the origin. Well, maybe that is more pertinent. I don't know. But no, I don't think it is. I think it's a red herring. It's the same. It's a red herring in the same way that talking about dark matter and dark energy is a red herring. I think people would rather talk about Einstein, dark matter, and dark energy, and things that are on the fringes relatively in some ways than validating the shape of the Earth.
The phrases and terms have changed. When I was young, and it was taught as luminiferous ether, and then it got debunked, but now it's being called dark matter or dark energy. Excuse me. I mean, the wording's different, but they're basically a placeholder for the same phenomena.
How would you describe that phenomena? Like, what is it the simplest form of describing it?
Source. I call it source. I've heard other people discuss other things, but I don't know very much at all, right? So I can share my conjecture. What we call beyond gamma cosmic radiation, not just solar flares and solar activity, but it's also called space weather, which is primarily locally sun. Has a lot to do with it, but there are other factors that we learned about early radio transmission when certain alignments took place as well, what we call heavenly bodies. And it sounded like woo-woo, but RCA, they didn't care. They wanted the shit to work properly. So they adjusted accordingly.
I think for here on Earth, I think when they talk about space weather, they're talking about the effects of the sun.
Yes, correct. Mostly.
Exclusively, I think. Well, yeah, almost all of it.
Except for the radio transmission phenomena early on with the different generator that allowed for was it human voice and music and whatnot to be broadcast and received. Hold on, I can't recall the name.
What about the moon? What about the moon, Red Cloud?
What about the moon?
It doesn't affect space weather.
No, I don't know. No, I don't think it does. No, when they say space weather, we're talking about the effects of the sun. Maybe Jesse could tell me that's rubbish, or that's
What's the question?
The question is when someone says space weather, they're talking about the effects of the sun. almost exclusively, and the effects it has on Earth.
Yeah, locally here.
Yeah, I think mostly like non-visible effects. In other words, like radiation, radio interference, auroras, and that kind of stuff. I never looked it up, but that's my inclination. I could Google it.
Yeah, Google it and Google the what's called the Carrington event, which ties directly into this, and also the currents that flow that most people are unaware of, and the solar circuit, and it sounds like woo woo, but you'll find it. It's there.
Well, we'll team up. I'll take one and you take the other. I'll do space weather. It refers to the dynamic, constantly changing conditions in the space environment primarily driven by the sun. It involves solar storms, radiation, and solar winds that interact with Earth's magnetic field and upper atmosphere, creating phenomena that can disrupt critical technology such as GPS satellites and power grids.
Sounds correct to me.
Yep.
And same with Carrington event. Let me go ahead and type that in now. Read it to my keyboard. And it's directly related with the cycles, solar cycles. There's cycles within cycles. The short ones are 11-year cycles. Hold on. The Carrington event, not freaking mortgage. What world? Carrington event was the most intense geomagnetic storm in recorded history, occurring on September 1st and 2nd, 1859. Caused widespread disruptions in telegraph systems, spectacular, auroras visible in many regions, including the tropics. In other words, the similar stuff that we just experienced. I was looking for these effects again. Let's see. It was it created the displays that reported globally as far as aurora goes, causing sparking even fires at telegraph stations, geomagnetic storms. It was most likely the result of the coronal mass ejection colliding with Earth's magnetosphere.
Right,
But
solar winds.
It's still conjecture, but we're leaning towards it's more than likely solar because it did fall within the cycles, within cycles 11-year cycles within, and then I think it's 11 times 26 are the greater cycles when these tend to manifest more. But the real weird phenomena that took place during this time was it blew out the batteries or whatever, and sparks were flying out the wires, and telegraph was working, no batteries. There was a lot of things going on, including the work of Nathaniel Stubblefield during this time, which you can look it up, and a lot of it's been debunked, like a bunch of other stuff. But he did have wireless telephony a long time ago. Without the, what was it called back then? The Edison snake, the wire.
Yeah, I was asking earlier about the coupling and instantaneous action at a distance and how that fits in with the so-called ether or dark matter, or whatever you want to call it, dark energy.
Well, we postulate or conjecture or theorize that it's primarily the sun, but there's definitely been events and occurrences that show that there's more. It's more than just the sun. Primarily, we attribute it to the sun.
Just to jump in on something small, I definitely would not try to compare dark matter to ether if ether is meant to be a medium for light, given the fact that dark matter is, if it even exists, is meant to be completely invisible and transparent and non-reactive to light.
Yeah, that's why I said dark energy is what I was using, but same problem.
Couldn't we have light dark energy?
Couldn't we have a lot of things? I don't know.
Well, allegedly to the latest accepted mainstream model, almost everything's dark energy. It used to be luminiferous ether, but all that got changed, and terms and phrases, and it's kind of making a full rap, but under a different name now, a different composition, but to explain the same phenomena.
Yeah, planets used to be called wandering stars until they found out they weren't stars.
Can you imagine being some of the first people saying these kinds of things? Look up there, just look. It is a rock. I'm telling you, I figured it out.
Yes. Well, they're just like pinpoints of light. That's all they knew. It's hard to imagine not knowing stuff like that. Just
oh man, there's
looking
so
up.
much I know that I don't know. I'm aware of my nescience to the point where, like when I was younger, I was extremely high on myself, and yeah, conceitedly thought that I knew a lot just because I was well schooled and could recall, and recite. But that's just being able to recall and recite. Recall is a gift, an aptitude, that some people have.
I posted a link to luminiferous ether.
What do you think, Jake? Is that a real thing? Well, I guess we can start with the most obvious rock in the sky, the moon, right? The moon's a giant rock in the sky. And when did they figure out it was a rock? How did they figure out it was a rock? How did they prove it? Has it been proven?
Cow jumped over it.
I still have a lot of questions of the moon. Like allegedly, the most dense materials are located on the surface. That's a little bit backwards to me, but there's a lot of questions. To be in its harmonic situation to cause what we call total eclipse, if that's what's occurring. I mean, it's just there's a lot of miracles to line up for it. Granted, mainstream academia's only got it for another 500 million years to be in this harmonic situation to have this eclipse.
Super reflective rock in the sky.
Well, yeah, because at first I learned the dynamics is it was going to eventually crash into the earth, and then what grade was I in? It changed to it's going away from the earth. But also early on, I was learning about global cooling, that we were going to enter another ice age. But that also changed within my lifetime. A lot of shit has changed within my lifetime, and it's like, how long does it take for them to admit they're wrong without replacing it with another wrong immediately? I get the need to have something to replace it with, but not another wrong. And it's no longer global warming this time either. It's just climate change. Like the ozone layer. The field of work I was in, I was handling refrigerants. I was a certified refrigerant technician, refrigeration technician, et cetera, et cetera. And at the time, they had me believing I was killing the whole world and everybody in it. They're convincing me that the chlorine molecule is breaking from the bond of HCFC and CFCs and robbing oxygen molecule from ozone, causing a hole in the ozone layer. I don't know if any of y'all kept up with the stats, but the factories in third world countries were dumping out chlorine, pumping it out, that made the little refrigeration industry and propellant cans look minuscule in comparison by volume, period. And what happened? The official narrative that ozone, the hole, healed itself. But there was also other stuff that took place within the EPA that caused them to stop checking up on our refrigerants. We used to have to keep up with every freaking bit of it, from purchase to sale to reclamation. But yeah, we constantly are changing. But now we've reintroduced another thing because it's still a greenhouse gas. So now we've got flammable refrigerants coming back again. We've already been down this road before.
It is bizarre. Definitely bizarre.
I
We're in
watched a
we're in the
massive
pandemics now, right? Like, whoa.
Well, it's fear, right? And guilt and shame, and man, they were murdering me with it until I learned better. But yeah, I was one of those, man. Bought it lock, stock, and barrel. That the way to go was nose to the grindstone and provide. And that was it.
I guess no one wanted to take on how they prove the moon is a giant rock in the sky. I mean, it is a perfect sphere, right? Like they've proven that what the dark side of the moon is was made of. Maybe no.
That's if you can believe the samples brought back, the constituents of the surface being extremely dense material that should not be on the surface of. You would think, right? Unless there's something preventing it to going beneath the crust. Doesn't make. And the other peculiarity is all the craters, none of them exceed a certain depth, evidently. A lot of odd things, and if the mainstream stuff, if any of it's accurate, when they actually drop stuff and listen to it resonate, it ring way too long to be any type of a solid structure, at least porous internally or something. If that's the truth, they dropped a couple different things, according to mainstream academy, history, etc.
Last I heard, China was the only one that gave us an image of the dark side of the moon. I thought Artemis just went around the moon. Did they not take any images of the dark side of the moon?
And you can look it up.
I've never seen any.
Have you tried looking it up?
Well, I mean, I'm just asking questions here.
So, open up Google, type in Artemis mission, Artemis 2, and there's a ton of it, a ton of images that have been brought back. So, and yes, they did get a picture of the other side of the moon.
They got the cameras out this time. They took a picture. Okay.
I mean, it's not that hard to do the research.
Man, like as many questions I got about that and why we didn't go back. It wouldn't shock me if it was like the exact opposite of us not going to the moon. It wouldn't shock me if we did go to the moon and see something, someone, or whatever that had us change our mind about going to the moon, so to speak. Or another possibility, maybe they have superseded that, and maybe we have more of a presence externally than we're aware of.
I just posted one. I just posted a picture from the other dark side of the moon from Artemis.
Hey, look, I didn't even have to Google it.
I will admit I've seen some strange phenomena on the moon, like observing it in real time.
Well, you can't just stop there, man. What did you observe?
Dude, I don't want to make claims because I don't know what I was observing. It looked like something going across the surface of the moon. I don't know. It could have been, some type of lensing distortion or whatever. I don't want to make any claim. I just noticed some weird shit and something that looked like a wave. But then I saw other people had recorded the wave phenomenon and caught it way better than I'd ever recognized it.
Wait, so this picture that you posted is the dark side of the moon? That's what you said, right?
Yes, it's a part of the moon that we do not see.
It's kind of interesting, just like thinking about it, right? Like you could see way big, like what appear to be way bigger craters on the side that faces us. Isn't that kind of interesting to you?
No,
Like, no, it's not. Like the side that always faces us has bigger craters, and they're
no,
directly impacted, and that's not strange at all to you.
no. They're actually very little craters.
Oh, really?
hmm I mean, what's your point?
Well, you would think because it's on the side that's not facing the Earth, right? It's facing the rest of the galaxy, right? The
hmm
out, away from us. That there would be bigger impacts on the backside of it, right? Because we're kind of
You do see
like
more. You do see
shielding the
more
side
impact.
that's facing us
You do see
to
more
an extent.
impact on the opposite side.
Oh, okay. Yeah, just looked like there were bigger craters, but on the actual face. But I thought I'd see something a little bit more substantial. That's all.
Pardon.
So are we going to be? So did Artemis confirm there's water on the moon? Are we going to be exploring this water source?
No, they just orbited the moon this time, just testing the systems.
They were testing the toilet specifically. One expensive toilet test.
Looking toilet, I might add. It's amazing how something like that grabbed the headlines.
I mean, why bother? It's all fake anyway, right?
True.
Yes, well done.
All these years in 2026, they still don't have B-ball. They still can't convince you. You still think it's fake, huh? They did it, see if they still had it, and I guess they don't. They didn't convince anyone.
Generally look 180 degrees and from the direction they're going, you're probably gonna find the truth. And I hate to say that. What was that? Victor Schauberger he told his son that a long time ago, and I've had to share similar advice with my son, unfortunately. But he was bringing home this arithmetic shit. I had him going around his asshole 70 times to get to his elbow, and I'm like, oh my god. And I broke down and showed him, look, this is how you come up. This is the formula. Here's the answer. And he's like, yes, Dad, I know, but I need to learn their technique so I can pass their class, and then I'll forget that crap. I don't know if any of the rest of you have experienced that, but wow, is all I can say. It's like torture.
Sorry, I missed what'd you say?
My son's arithmetic criteria that he brought home, that he was required to go through their procedures to solve problems, which is ridiculous.
What, like proofs? What do you mean?
Yeah. But the way they would do it was like adding 7 steps to something that is only a 2-step method.
Oh, like math major, like what math majors
Yes.
do? Oh,
Yes.
yeah, that sounds awful.
It
Like,
is.
yeah, I've heard stories about that from my math teachers where it was like I don't recall the exact instance, but they had to prove 1 + 1 = 2 or something. It was something ridiculous like that, where it's like they had to break it down to the most like insanely ridiculous levels.
Yep.
It was something along that line, though. I've heard
It
about
was
that.
completely unnecessary. You come up with the same solution and answer without that ridiculous level of, I don't even know what to call it. I mean, I watched him, we learned it together, but man, as far as a practical application, nope, it was not there. It was just getting in the way.
No, it's much easier to just say 1 + 1 = 2 than go through that. I do not admire, or not admire, what's the word? I feel bad for math majors. That's what I mean to say.
Required. They got to go through it.
But I mean,
That
I
way.
guess I feel sorry for like astrophysicists too, but they put themselves through it, so I don't feel too sorry for them.
You know, in this kind of crazy system I'd created for myself, but like that's the stress that students feel like they're under, unfortunately.
The funny thing is, I'm literally having to rewrite a paper right now that was flagged for possible AI and paraphrasing, right? And it's like the parameters that I was given and what the scenario is. Literally, I am not necessarily paraphrasing, but with how narrow the parameters are, everything 100% was written on my own. But now I'm almost flagged for like academic like repercussions because the way that I write is like my cadence in the way that I write is similar to AI, allegedly. So it's possible AI and possible like paraphrasing, right? So the parameters that are giving and the things that are like laid out, like academically as a student, like I'm spending more time trying to like dumb this down and make it sound stupid,
right?
So that I don't get flagged. Like it's so weird.
Shit is so fucked right now with AI throughout education. Like, I'm so sorry that's happening to you. We're going to be in this crazy situation where, like, schools are using AI to tell the teachers. Well, let me back up for a sec. We're going to be in a situation where lazy teachers are having AI create the assignments and then using AI to tell them if the AI thinks that the student's work was written by AI. You know, have an AI look at a paper and be like, oh, I think this was written by AI. But here's the thing, like, I've used ChatGPT, I've used Gemini, like, I'm really familiar at this point with what AI sounds like. Like, I do think this technology is impressive in some regards, but I feel like everyone who's used it enough knows how to spot it. Like, it doesn't really sound like a human. Like, you can tell the things that it's odd about, the patterns to its speech that are particular. And I guess I feel like I have to ask.
So here's the thing, it does, but it doesn't, right? So I've used it like Copilot so much for like my actual job, right? And helping it rewrite sentences to where now like the way that I write sentences are indicative of what AI does, right? So it's like if I am being taught that I need to constantly change what I'm writing to be more adherent to this, now academically, when I'm writing like that because it's correcting it and I'm adapting to that, now it thinks that I am that, right? So it's this weird conundrum of where when I'm actually writing things in the way that I feel they should be written, allegedly that's AI, and then some of these scenarios that I'm having to write for, it's so simplistic to where it's like, okay, I'm just going to get the bullet points out that I need to. I've read all of the material. I understand what the material is. I'm applying it to what the scenario is. And when I apply it to the scenario, then it sounds like I'm paraphrasing, but it's like I'm 100% writing it on my own. But what else do you need me to do? Oh, what I need to do is I need to turn it into something that sounds like a 5-year-old's writing it. So allegedly, I need to write like a 5-year-old as opposed to like somebody that's writing professionally. It's so weird.
I think a workaround to that would be like cite your source. Like, obviously, you read the material, you just be like, oh, as according to so and so, this is, you know, as outlined on page 63 or whatever, you know, they talk about, you know, you could do it like that. That would make it more believably not AI. But the question that I would have is how could they prove that it's written by AI without a shadow of a doubt? To me, to the point where they could actually threaten academic
repercussions, right? Like, yeah, that's the thing is it's like everything that I write naturally, which has been guided by like 6 years of having Copilot at my work, right? Constantly like correcting my stuff. So it's like I've learned what I need to write better professionally. So when I apply that academically, it's like, oh, you're basically writing like AI. And it's like, well, I learned to write better based on AI. So now you're thinking that I'm writing as an AI, which is like, where's the win-win? Do I need to make my shit worse? Like I need to make my papers sound more poorly written so that they don't sound like they're AI, which is almost like a catch-22. but the institutions are using AI to read for AI, but they're
That's
not
what I was
actually.
going to say.
Yeah,
It's that who programmed the algorithm, and
That's there was a great the comedian John Mulaney had a great bit years ago about like we're going to be spending all of our time arguing with robots that were not robots. Like this whole thing is going to get so ridiculous, and it's like I just laugh when people talk about how efficient AI is going to make everything. Like we're going to end up spending so much time, wasted time, arguing about and inspecting things with AI to try to determine if it is AI. It's like it's just going to go in crazy circles, and I really feel like this comes back to the teachers on some level. Like if your assignments could be so easily aced by AI, maybe it was just a bad assignment. I don't know. Like maybe you need to figure out something more interesting to do with the students in the first place.
Yeah, and the thing about like what I'm dealing with, right, is you have this scenario that's being given to hundreds of people, right? So it's a scenario that's being given to hundreds of people that they all have to write on that scenario, and then they're checking against everybody else's words based on these like simplistic scenarios. So it's like, oh, 3,000 people already wrote a paper on this, but you have one sentence that sounds like very similar. Like how the more you continue to have that same scenario that everybody needs to write upon, the more everybody's shit is going to look like it's plagiarized, right? Because how many times can you write one paragraph about a certain portion of a scenario?
Yeah, there's only so many ways of phrasing things. I mean, I saw this before I had my job currently as a teacher. When I was a grad student, I was a teacher's assistant. So, and I was in a much bigger institution, and I was like doing like it was very much like factory made education of like huge class sizes and like very controlled and standardized and having computer algorithms check for plagiarism. And I would have to check all of these flaggings for plagiarism. And it was just nonsense. Like I would just read the different sentences and just shrug. I'd be like, I don't know. I don't think that this looks plagiarized, or I have no idea why the algorithm said that this was a 55% chance plagiarism versus a 90% chance. And I was just like told just like, oh, use your like check them all and use your judgment call. So here they have the algorithm that's supposedly meant to find these things, but then they don't, of course they don't trust it fully autonomously. So then now I have to spend my labor hours like double checking it, and then it's still just based on my gut feel. And I was just like, I'm not doing this. This is pointless. This is nonsense. I can't like unless something is word for word the same sentence. It's like two things that sound similar. Probably sound similar because it was a simple assignment. And it's like, how many different ways can you rephrase something when we've got 200
Right.
students?
Exactly.
Like,
That's exactly what I'm dealing with, right? Where it's like this one sentence is 75% similar to something that somebody else has written. When you've got 95,000 people that have written about the same fucking scenario, like how else can I reword or figure out a way to state something that is not going to be similar to what somebody else has written? It's like, give me one sentence on this one thing. And if you have 95,000 people giving you one sentence on one thing, you're going to have the majority of those things look like they're going to be plagiarized, right?
Yeah, I think. Well, I mean, obviously, there's a like. My ideal education would be obviously way more teachers to students, smaller class sizes, and like just I feel like education should just be sort of like guided activities that are like very engaging for the students. And I sort of feel like the whole culture of exams and homeworks is kind of a failure. I mean, obviously, there's a funding aspect to that. If you actually have to hire enough teachers to give students that much attention to make this work as to how I would like things to be. But I definitely think that like the paranoia around AI of like, are the students using AI? Should we have AI tell us if it thinks that the students are using AI? Is just going to make the absurdity of like all the problems that like we've been putting off dealing with in education come to a head.
Yeah, I feel like it's a catch-22 when the teachers are using AI to figure out
Right.
whether or not the students are using AI. It's
Yeah.
like, how are you going to tell me that the thing that I wrote off the top of my head is AI when you're not cognitively trying to assess whether or not what I wrote is legitimately my words, right? Like
Yeah.
you're using AI to determine whether or not what I wrote is AI. So
Yeah.
you are using the thing that you're claiming that I'm using to determine whether or not I did use that or not. It's so, I don't know.
And
It's
these
weird.
things are not trustworthy. Like these AI tools they make stuff up all the time. They're not trustworthy at all.
And it's possible. It's possible that it's AI. It's like I just wrote this 3-page paper that 60% of it is possible AI when I wrote it all off the top of my head. Like what do I need to do? What do I need to do to change what I'm doing? Do I need to like dumb it down? Do I need to write like a kindergartner? And then would you then grade me differently and not pass me because I'm writing like a kindergarten? Like it's such a
Put in
catch
some weird
22.
spelling mistakes maybe that AI wouldn't use. I really don't have any good advice. Like I think the whole situation's absurd. That's the best I could come up with. Is
looking for years for anyone that's found something similar, and I knew I wasn't alone. And finally, I had a friend of mine help me out and tell me, patents filed and all this other stuff. And of course, I wasn't alone.
Yeah, what I found with it's very good at patent stuff. Like if and especially like with medical research, if you load a bunch of research papers into it, they kind of build some good context. And like if you have like some very specific defined parameters, like it's very good at like let's say you've got an idea and you've explained it to the AI and it sort of gets what you're saying. Then you sort of ask it to go on like I asked it to go to SAE Mobilis patents and find similar patents or and it's very good at that.
Yeah, I would say it's like anything. It's only as good as the input that you put into it, right? So like your prompting is the most critical aspect of it. Like when a lot of people are like,
are you aware of meta prompting, Napalm?
I knew I wasn't alone, and finally,
like if and especially like with medical research, if you load a bunch of research papers into it, they kind of build some good context. And like if you have like some very specific defined parameters, like it's very good at like let's say you've got an idea and you've explained it to the AI and it sort of gets what you're saying. Then you sort of ask it to go on like I asked it to go to SAE Mobilis patents and find similar patents or and it's very good at that.
yeah, I would say it's like anything. It's only as good as the input that you put into it, right? So like your prompting is the most critical aspect of it. Like when a lot of people are like,
are you aware of meta prompting, Napalm?
I don't know, maybe elaborate.
Essentially, I mean, dude, I basically speak some weird jargon into this machine, and it takes my really bad prompt, and it improves on the prompt itself. So it does an analysis of the initial prompt, and then it rephrases it, and then submits it back to itself. And it almost basically resolves all of the issues of bad prompting. Even to the point where sometimes I over elaborate on something because I'm not quite sure what I'm trying to explain. Like I know nothing about coding whatsoever, and I'm just like, I want it to work like this, and then I explain it sort of 3 different ways in a general sort of in a bad, like it's not jargon as the terminology, the generic terminologies, and then it will take my generic terminologies. It will say, oh, you're actually talking about, like this specific aspect of programming or something. Oh, okay, and then it starts applying that. It's a game changer with the AI stuff. I will say that.
Yeah, I mean, typically, like I will use a prompt into one AI, take that response, reprompt it into another AI to check against it, right? And you keep going back and forth between like multiple AIs to eventually get to what is going to be the best scenario. I think most people that say like AI just sucks on a general level are probably using a singular prompt in a singular AI and getting a response that they don't think is sufficient.
Well, I found like I did some coding recently to get a phone working because it was locked to use a certain carrier. Like if I put any other SIM card in, it would just stop working, and you have to do a factory reset. And when I was doing all the coding for it, it was like even someone that had a good understanding of that code may have struggled a bit more than me. Like it was part of actually getting it to work was to understand how the underlying things interface with each other, like the integration. And so it's like if you understand something at a fundamental level, you can fix a lot of it, but
There's some background noise going on.
Sounds like a riot going on in his background.
what are you using? What are you doing with it, Ricksky? You said you were using like a those.
Yeah, I'll show you guys if you like. It won't take long. I don't want to take up too much time, and I don't want to show you
You
all
were
my
talking about
secrets.
building materials or something.
Well, yeah. So I do camper van fit outs, and I use SketchUp as my tool of basically shaping parts and components and ensuring that it all sort of fits together. And then sort of to get to that point, I needed to develop what I've just put up on the screen in the screen share. So this is basically like the whole business operations going on here. This is the fit out agent in particular at the moment. All of this stuff is modeling information that's going on the right-hand side. I'm getting it to do my pricing. Like I'm just like, screw it. I'm not going to try to price this stuff for myself. I get the AI to do it. And then sometimes, like it doesn't quite understand what's going on with certain components. So I just need to say, oh, bump it up here, turn it around there, yada, yada, yada. But yeah, I mean, it's doing like, I got a website that I've already built out of this thing. There's a booking section, like all of this stuff is going on. I've got my accountant operating. The fit out agent's the one I'm working on right now, just to basically, and I can't show you the other screen, but actually I can. One sec.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. My brother had a Mitsubishi all-drive van. So he had a couple of them actually, and yeah, really cool stuff.
Well, it's just like building information modeling essentially, and I've just sort of, I mean, this is a product in and of itself. I could probably, once I finish doing this, I'd probably take a lot more time, a couple more weeks to refine it all. But this is technically a product in and of itself, like a software attachment product that you would upload. I don't want to get too much into we're talking about something else here. I don't want to get stuck into this shit, but this is basically OpenClaw, and it's being plumbed in through Claude Code and Opus. And I'm spending pretty big bucks though, I will say. I've already spent about $1,500 just in processing fees on those AIs, so I'm paying out the ass for it, but it's going to save me time in the long run.
It's cheaper than an employee doing it for you.
Oh, it's way cheaper. But the other thing is, like, it's even like I've managed to build out these like this took me a little bit of time just to get the nuance and being able to describe what I wanted. But say, for example, here, like the looms of these are like electrical looms, and I say, like, it knows that it's the inverter connecting to the battery. It knows that the battery information is down here. This is a 400 amp hour battery situation going on, and it knows the size of the inverter, and then it can specify the size of my cable that I require in order to accommodate the amount of current or amperage that's flowing through it. And then even to the point of where I've specified, like, that's an 8mm bolt over here, like it's like an M8, like for the terminal. And then it knows that the battery has, the what is it? The inverter is an M10, and then the battery is an M8. So I've taken a long time to try to get it to work with all this information, but yeah, it just works it out for you. And then what is it? If I go down here, the inverter, here's a specification. It's called Kick-Ass Inverter. It's it's a 3000 watt. Here's all the information for that. And so it's just all intelligently plugging into one another at this point. And I'm just sitting here sort of supervising it, like basically kind of interesting, because otherwise you'd have to source all this information, organize it. The AI has become the organizer, and I'm just a supervisor of the organizer at that point. And then I just all I do now, at this point, I'm almost ready to send this document off. So I can just go press this, quote PDF. All of this information, all of these, you can see, like, if I open this up, it's got all this information about what it is, where the supply is coming from. All of this, I haven't done it for that one, but I'm still working on it. But yeah, it's just
so it's basically able to plan the whole fit out for you, like in the minutest detail. So you're able to sort of
yeah.
wiring everything.
Yeah, and like if I could try to apply it to your two-stroke design engine sort of thing, like you would sort of develop a set of agents that are associated, like, you're the if you wanted to really fixate and focus in on like an engine design, you would have some sort of lubricant engineer, like maybe like an alloy engineer for your metals, and then like deal with your tolerances and stuff. So you'd the trick is to have multiple agents that are kind of actually checking one another. That's what I sort of found with this. This is why each one of these sort of at the top here, they've all got a finger in the pie of one another a little bit, so they're kind of checking on one another to verify. Like sometimes they'll kick back and say, well, the marketing agent sent some stupid thing off to the web developer to put up online, and it'll push back and say, oh, that was not, the web developer didn't like that, so you got to go reassess it. And it's just basically checking in on itself at that point. And then only when sort of they can't resolve themselves, I shift it up over to here, and I called it the architect, of course. But this guy over here, it's a simpler platform, but this is the guy that basically rocks everyone's situation. I can change massive things through the architect, but you really don't want to use this one. You want to get the minions to basically be able to organize amongst themselves properly.
Have you attempted to get some people from history to have a communication on a subject or question?
Oh, what, to have them sort of deliberate and argue amongst themselves? Like, what do you want, Plato to verse Eratosthenes, and like get them
No,
to argue amongst each
no,
other?
no. Much more recent, where there's actually data available to these LLMs on these individuals. Like for instance, what I did was Nathaniel Stubblefield, John Keeley.
No, sure. But
Well, anyway, it was several different individuals from the past that had different knowledge and perspectives and arithmetics used, etc. And anyway, yeah, from my time working with them like that, they did have enough data on these individuals to carry on the conversations, and then I was able to ask questions and get responses that I didn't before getting, presenting it in that manner.
Yeah, look, I haven't used it for anything kind of cool. This is all work operations for me at the moment, although I have been sort of like musing over the notion of making like some form of like truther AI to basically be able to plug in all the crazy shit that we talk about, and try to resolve it. Like, it doesn't even need to necessarily resolve it. It's just interesting information, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, what it does have access to, it is interesting in a little affirmation, confirmation, and then new information. Is what I've been experiencing. Stuff to check into and finding it to be true, and that's pretty dang cool.
So how do we know if AI is telling the truth about the shape of the Earth?
Well, I was thinking about that before when you're like the AI. I think Napalm was mentioning that like the AI, like it generally gets the anything that's like well resourced and well researched, it does get it right. And then I was thinking of packing up then and go like, what is it? Like, what is the constitution of the moon? What is the sorry? What does the AI think of the constitution of the moon actually is? And but at the end of the day, it's all the training data that's sort of supplying it. It's obviously going to orientate itself towards the mainstream at that point. You can, however, sort of twist its arm per se and get it to basically focus in on certain information rather than others, and that's where you become the guide rather than the AI telling you what's up. You're kind of like a weird relationship between the two, if I can explain it in that way.
It is, and I recognized it in some people taking it all the way to they want to marry it.
I did think it was funny when a couple of people were like, when all this stuff. I haven't seen anyone really doing it recently, although there was that one fine Korean fella, I think, that popped in, and he was very much sort of treating it as its own entity or something that was guiding him rather than him guiding it. And I think this is a slippery slope that I don't want to entail at all.
Something I've been fascinated by is these recent commencement speeches, where these higher up are giving commencement speeches, graduations, these universities and colleges getting booed because each one of them has been bringing up AI and AI this and AI that and getting booed, literally.
Oh yeah, this subject at large is like starting to even feel pretty cliche to me. It's almost like, why even talk about it? It's coming. There's not much we can do about it. You can shuck and jive all you want. I mean, to some extent, I don't know what to do about it. Like, what are we going to get out of its way, or do we sort of like try to implement some sort of instantiation within our own lives? But I'm not. Yeah.
Well, first of all, I don't think that ignorance is in any way, shape, or form going to help. It depends on your ability to be involved in planning in your local area. Do you actually have, a say? Do you have a community that comes together and votes on these matters?
Well, that is the interesting point, because I mean, we've had some flooding issues around here, and there's a lot of question around the community, like particularly on the Facebook chat. You can see people talking about it, but the catchment, like they haven't properly engineered the catchment for water to flow out properly. And so, I mean, what are you going to do at that point? You could use the AI to basically just absolutely bury the council in paperwork. They're not going to allow that into the future. Like, we may have about 2-3 more years of being able to do that. So I suppose use your advantage while you still can. But at some point, they're just going to basically, like, as we sort of deliver up AI, sort of, what would you call it, sort of trying to question their authority and and the way that they've gone about it, using the AI to basically show that they're wrong. They're going to come up with some other freaking AI that's going to. It's kind of like the university situation that we were referring to before. They'd be like, "Oh, you plagiarized that information from the AI. It's not your legitimate opinion or some shit."
And what you're supposed to do is memorize and regurgitate a mountain of data. Of course, you're going to sound like a freaking AI. Never mind. That's just ridiculous.
Well, it's Baconian sort of technocracy. This is what he was I think he was sort of proposing as far as the future for society.
It wasn't just him. There was a whole bunch, and it was hinted at through entertainment, all kind of shit. Well, you know, Rick, man, I ain't got to tell you.
Oh, what with the Hollywood and the Shakespeare?
All that, of course, Shakespeare, Macbeth, and all the way through to, yeah, you're already aware of this stuff. Sir Bacon Spear is what I like to call it.
It's an interesting one. I kind of wish more people would be sort of like, everyone's talking about the measuring the curve and all that shit, but something else going on. But
yeah, when
floats
you
people's
look at the
boats.
different company and the different individuals and what happened contemporaneously with it, or concurrently, or at the same time, excuse me. Duh, I gotta learn how to
Contemporaneous words, don't worry,
communicate.
man.
Okay.
Contemporaneous word. The first word you used was fine, my man.
Thank you. I'm trying to learn how to communicate better. Big words are not the key. Anyway, the shifting of the words, the spelling and pronunciation of words, mainly pronunciation, and what's called shift, especially with the great vowel shift. Anyway, what we used to talk like English and what is now a different spelling and mainly pronunciation, and what occurred also, along with Macbeth and Shakespeare, was what we call King James Version of the Bible. A lot of different things, including the word witch and witchcraft.
Go ahead, Gio.
Oh, well,
I was just
if
about
someone
to
had
tell
a
him to be
response
careful
to,
with the Bible talk. What's
no, I
up?
was trying to get in on something from a little bit before, but if someone had a response to that before I go, someone's itching to get in. Well, I was just, because it wasn't quite on what you were saying, but it was from a few minutes ago. This is kind of just a simple, basic question. I haven't used too much of the AIs, but I have been using a few of them for a few little projects, and yeah, pretty amazingly useful in a lot of ways. And yeah, it's weird how sometimes they're just really spot on and accurate, and other times they do seem wrong, or they're like just missing the mark. Anyways, it's all interesting. But I just had a quick question. It was from a little bit earlier. It just popped in my mind. I wanted to ask like what you guys think. I know it's kind of, I probably already know the answer to it, but when you're using these prompts, does it help to like be cordial or polite to it, like to say thank you, and things like that? Like, does that help or not?
Yes.
Does it make any
Interesting question.
Yes.
Well, yeah, because like in a human
in my
interaction, it would help.
experience,
Like, oh, thank you very much, or whatever you would say
Yes.
that. And but like, does it help in if in terms of getting whatever conclusion from the AI? And if it doesn't, then it's just kind of interesting because you feel like you're talking to a human, kind of like it's almost like you're doing an online live chat or something with like a support agent. And I mean, it's not always like that, but sometimes it feels like that when you're kind of like asking it things or trying to like I've had to do some coding for me and stuff for a few different little things I've been doing and little projects and things. And it sometimes it gets it totally wrong. But then it's like, yeah, does it help to say thank you or to have cordiality in any way, or does it just not make any difference? And if it doesn't make any difference, and it's kind of like I have to sort of think about that and be like, oh yeah, you don't have to say thank you,
I had an odd experience one time when I was dealing with, which one was it? Leo, the one on Brave browser. It mistook me as a program, and I just continued on as if I was a program. And then I'm like, okay, how do I teach this human? And it was like, oh, and it gave a whole list, a whole bunch of stuff, including videos from YouTube, from what's it called, 3 blue, 1 brown, or something, all the way through to just a whole bunch of different stuff. And go ahead.
I was going to say the only way that that you need to be polite to it wouldn't make any sense because the AI doesn't lose patience. It has all the time in the world. It's not like sitting there waiting for your answer and thinking, "Come on, hurry up!" Right? I don't think when I talk to AI, I just give it instructions and tell it what to do.
Yeah, I did look it up here with ironically an AI, Gemini in this case, the Google one, and it says it's technically a waste of computing resources because putting unnecessary words means that it has to process more. So it is saying that doesn't help you or doesn't help. It also says potentially decreased efficiency. This says prompt engineers generally skip pleasantries because direct, declarative, and highly specific commands yield the fastest and most accurate results. And then, but it says while you still might want to do it, it says setting the tone AI models base their responses on the patterns you input. So if you're cordial, the AI will naturally mirror that respectful, collaborative, and conversational tone. Formatting and clarity, yeah. So that makes sense. Like if you're going to say, please make me whatever, like there might be some kind of formatting component to how you word that. And then it says maintaining human habits, engaging in constant blunt commands with machines can bleed into your daily human interactions. Right. That's interesting too. Like if you're just really blunt and kind of commanding to the AI, would that overleak into your life? Or now all of a sudden you're talking to your wife or your kids and you're just talking to it like an
I think
AI.
it
Like would it
depends.
affect you in that way? It's kind of
I think it depends what culture you actually have to begin with, because like I noticed, like when I'm in China and I'm asking people to do things for me or instructing them to do things, it's kind of weird if you say please in China. Like you don't need to, because you're already like familiar with each other. So you just say, "Can you do this? Can you do that?" And you just say it nicely. You don't have to actually say the word please. But I think in Western culture, if you don't actually say it, it might come across as like a little bit rude. So yeah, I think it could be depending on culture as well.
Can do, yeah. That is an interesting complex between the China. I am kind of familiar a little bit. A mate of mine went over to China when he was 14, 15 or something and spent 3 years there, and he came back telling all these stories, right? And like, for example, his mother was at a hairdressing salon. They didn't know she spoke Chinese, but she could understand them. And apparently they were like, I mean, she's a big woman, and they were like commenting about her in Chinese, but she could understand them. And I think she picked them up after a couple of like exchanges back and forth and said, I can understand you or something to that effect. But apparently in China, like, I know, you correct me if I'm wrong, Good Vibes, but what is it? They're not cordial like we are in the West or something like these sort of, I think you've already sort of outlaid that.
It's just it's kind of like, it's not just body language, it's the intonation of that, probably the end of your sentence or particular, like on the verbs is obviously instructing someone to do something is going to be a verb. Like it's just the intonation, I think, without having to say please itself. You can get stuff done very politely in that way.
Yeah, interesting. But yeah, for the larger question going on that Gio's put forward is being cordial. What was the first thing it said? Which is usually the most important to the AI. It's basically it actually causes it to be less efficient.
Energy, yeah, or
wasting computer resources and then decrease efficiency.
Yeah.
Has anyone ever said activate caveman mode?
I give it a
try. What does that mean?
Especially when you're trying to find something truthful, like it really helps because sometimes it just gives overly wordy responses. So if you just say activate caveman mode, it will give like very short, blunt answers that are, I don't know, it's supposed to save on resources, but it's I find it really useful.
I just did it. I just typed in ChatGPT. I said activate caveman mode, and then it said caveman mode activated. Me talk simple now. You ask thing, me answer thing. No fancy word. No big brain talk unless you want. What you need, cave friend. That's what it just said.
That's like Baboona. Remember when Baboona like showed up here and he's like, we need to speak monkey speech. I think that's the terminology you used. Monkey
now I'm going to
speech.
follow that up with, I'm going to say, is the Earth flat? And then it says,
Oh
no,
my
Earth not
God.
flat. Earth roundish, more like squished ball than perfect ball.
Correct.
Earth not pancake. Earth big round rock in space. That's the caveman conclusion.
Earth slightly squished sponge.
You know how they say, "Where are you going?" in China? And their grammar is opposite. Like they've literally got caveman grammar. So they don't say, "Where are you going?" They say, "You go where." That's caveman language.
What you're saying in China?
It is a little bit.
Because some Asian folks, when they kind of speak English, they'll say some things like that. That sound awkward to those who speak fluent English. Sometimes, that kind of accent.
Exactly. Yeah. You go where?
Yeah, like that. Yeah, phrases like that. And usually, as an American or whatever, or as an English speaker, we can usually figure out what they're saying. But is that because you're saying in Chinese, that's how it would be said as like a
the grammar?
So like the Chinese language is actually said "你去哪儿," which means you go where. That's literally caveman language. It's just the grammar, right?
I think Japanese has got some similar things like that, where it's just the way they structure their sentences, like whether they nouns first, verbs later, or whatnot. So verb first.
But they might think our language, like English, is caveman to them.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, they do think they think they have a longer, like a continuous culture than like any other culture. So they probably do feel that other cultures' grammar is kind of backwards.
Considering how many characters are in their what we would call alphabet.
Well, the average person that needs to read the newspaper in China, you probably need about like 2,000 characters.
How many are there in
Individual.
total? Wasn't there like
And that's
6,000
Mandarin.
characters at one point?
But it depends on which one, which time. Yeah.
Trillions now. There's just like you can't even count them now because of all the modern technology and all the new words that they have to throw in there. But like the general sort of a newspaper reader needs to know individually 2,000 characters.
Oh, yeah,
And
but
you can
wait,
join the.
Sorry.
Oh, you can join characters
you can
together
join.
to form another word, right? So two characters can make another word.
Well,
So is it
that's
like
what I
sort of?
thought. But there's like a
ahead.
little kind of sort of not really part that I was missing about overlaying one character onto another character, and evidently there was some nuances I was missing. So I was told just to stick with.
Yeah, that's the
with my-
intonation I had from that statement. So if you're saying there's trillions of characters, well, I'm sure it's not trillions, but essentially some of those characters look a little bit like another character. So it may look like a character, like a Chinese thing that looks a little bit familiar, but it's got a couple of little strokes on it in some other location or something, and you can almost intonate what that character means. Is that right? Like just through
I think I was exaggerating. Like, there's not trillions of characters. There's just there's exactly the same amount of words as there are in English, right? But the individual characters themselves, they don't have. That's not an alphabet. Those are actual words. So the alphabet are not the characters. The alphabet is more like the
strokes in the character.
No, not even that. Like there's Borpor, Morpher. Like it's a sound alphabet. It's an alphabet based on sound, phonetics.
Phonetics.
Yeah.
Because it's all like so pictographic, it's like each of those characters is like one sound, but that one sound is a complete word depending on what tone you use. It refers to a different pictograph, and they're all very like the way that they were made is all very historic. So it's like there are a bunch of stories you'd have to learn to know why these symbols mean a certain word.
That's ingenious, actually. How like you can look at a character and you can see from left to right, you can see the different sounds that they represent, and then you can also see the shapes that they represent. Like if you Google person, it'll come up with this this two-stroke character that actually looks kind of like it could be the shape of a person. REN is the way to spell it with the English alphabet.
Ren. Yeah, Ren. Doesn't Ren mean like child or something?
Ren means person.
Ren means. I thought wasn't that like the interesting like children and then Ren? We got this terminology called children in English.
Yeah, man. Like languages all come from one place, and they've been here forever. They're not really separate, really, if you look into it. That's why Santos Panacci, he can break down all the different languages, and they all come together, all as atom.
Atom?
So what you just
all
said,
as atom. ATOM.
But they definitely are related. We have relationships between a Sun tribe over here. What was it called? Native. Anyway, there's also a group of monks, I believe, in Tibet of the Sun as well, and they knew of each other. Like they told tales about one another. And when they finally met up, they were even actually able to phonetically communicate because their words were so same and stuck, to the same root and passed down. It was just anyway. I forgot it was actually an event named something of the Sun or something like that.
So I appreciate that guy that comes on here sometime. What's his name? Apple B or something like that. Like he's got it. He's kind of got it half worked out there, or pretty much he's on the right path, right? Because like the way that you can break everything down, you can do that with all languages, and it all comes together as like there is a relationship with every language. Etymologically, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Apple B, right?
The group here in the Ohio area that shared so many traits, and including phonetic expression with what were they called? Part of France and dang it, brain fart, my bad.
How do the AIs do the like the imagery? What is like the back end for how they're doing that? I just put one in the chat. I just did this random one. I said a man smoking mushrooms on a mountain peak. That's what it gave me.
I got it to clone me,
What is it?
and I
What
couldn't
does it
believe it.
use?
I thought it was me.
You had to do what? I'm just saying, what does it use to like? I mean, I know I could probably just look this up, but I'm just like, what does it use to actually do the imagery? Like, it must just be using tons of other images that it's all in the model and it somehow combines them.
Like it got me. Like I just took my photo a few times, like just a couple of sides and stuff, without any movement. And when I watched the video that it made of me, like pretending to be a salesperson, it's like I could swear that is me, man. It's like I couldn't, like, there's no distinguishing, but like I couldn't tell that it was fake. Like I could swear that I just made that video myself, and it was like a 1 minute video of me, and it got all my movements, and then I was like, how did it get my movements? Because it only took some photos. And it was just obviously looking at the muscle structure and the way that my skin lies on my features and stuff to get the movements, and it kind of guessed like if I would talk slightly with my head leaning like slightly to the side, or it's like, wow, it got all of that from a couple of photos. Has anyone ever tried that, cloning themselves, doing a digital clone? It's crazy.
No, that'd be scary. Have you
It's
guys
fucking
like
handy though,
obviously?
because like imagine you have to do like presentations and like update your, for example, your website, or do an introduction to a product or something like that. It's like you just say, because it's already got you there, and then you just say what you want it to do, and it'll make a new marketing material with you as a spokesperson right there, and you can tell it what type of clothes that you want it to wear, what's the atmosphere, background, all of that. It's amazing. And people think, wow, this guy's got so much time making all these videos.
Well,
man.
that'll be short lived. Most people are going to start picking up on that. I don't know, man.
I couldn't
this
tell the
future actually
difference of myself. It looked like me, I tell you. It was me.
Remember the shit? I don't know how old you guys are. They had forecast the uncanny valley.
Wait, what did you do with that?
So you have to get like there's an app to do a digital clone. I forget which app it was. Just recently I was in China, and my wife downloaded this app, and then she made a digital clone of me so that we could do some marketing material. And so like I didn't have to go outside and dress up in a suit and all of that, because she just told it to do it. And unbelievable. I saved all of that filming, all of that like time and everything, and I got the whole thing done, and it took about 4 minutes.
Yeah. So you mean materials like some kind of like a flyer or some kind of like a still image?
No,
that
it was a video. It was a marketing video of me selling portable, foldable homes, and
Oh, wow.
those. Yeah, and it was like me, and it put me in a suit, and it was, and with the right setting in the background, walking around and explaining and talking about the cabins, and even had like spectators and just random people walking past. I couldn't tell the difference between fake and real, and my discernment was just blown away.
That's what I'm saying. We have surpassed the uncanny valley.
Yeah, man, it's hard to tell.
Yep.
Hey,
Uncanny Valley.
Look at what I just posted. I just was trying to get ChatGPT to make me a 2-pole flat Earth map. That's what it gave me. That's an actual pear. It looks like a pear. That's what it just pumped out.
Wow.
I told it to match the Chamberlain trimetric projection just to see what it would, and it kept doing this other layout. It kept doing this. This is the first one it gave me, which is like totally not possible. Like this one's way off. Scott Antarctica, but that's the first thing it did. And then I kept giving it the projection. I said, try to make it closer to the projection I was putting into it.
I still see a double lobe.
But there's always an inside and an outside, so a pole doesn't have to represent a spot. A pole could be like, with any transform, it could be a different shape than a dot, right? It doesn't have to be a dot. But there's definitely two. There's definitely an inside or an outside, or there's an opposite to the North Pole for sure. There has to be.
Well, polarity, when it comes to polarity, it doesn't necessarily have to be axially aligned, if that's what you're talking about.
And it doesn't have to be the same shape. It doesn't have to be like two dots. It can be
Got a
one can be
horseshoe
long and one can
magnet.
be short.
You got a horseshoe magnet where the poles are formed to function, has certain functional properties because of its shape and proximity from pole to pole, especially depending on the Gauss or Tesla. Strength, yeah, strength. Well, been altered to newtons. It was previously a magnetic force. But all force is now a newton.
I think, like, you know how like you can look at a double pole map and say, and some people say, well, you have to Pac-Man for that. But I think the way it is that the coordinates, it could be any shape, flat of course, but it could be any shape as a transform, and that shape, like depending where you are on the grid, it still represents the same distance no matter what shape it is. You know what I mean? It's like once you're at that coordinate, like it doesn't matter if it's a square or a triangle. It's going to like, I don't know how to explain, like the legend can be a transform itself. So
Well,
I think it's kind of like how what's that term they use in quantum physics? How things can like stretch.
be in two locations at once, a superposition. What do you
Well,
mean
that's
stretch?
I mean that's possible with overlaid dimensions anyway. That's already possible, right?
Yeah.
We already know that there's two dimensions. There's the spirit world, which is laid
Well,
upon
man,
the physical world, right?
at least, yeah. We'll see. Like the oldest teachings, arts, and ways of our ancestors knew of mind, body, and spirit, and coherence, and the goal of that. So yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't get fixed on the shape, but it's definitely flat, man.
I don't personally care what shape it is, or if it's flat. But there's so many interesting topics in here and individuals that I don't really, that doesn't bother me.
Well, you kind of have to think a little bit deep sometimes, because like what I try to say is like either we're spinning and revolving and orbiting and floating and flying, yeah, through a ever expanding universe from a big bang, like around a big plasma ball. Like either that and the oceans are sticking to us, and that means that you have to kind of side with science, as in the way that they talk about it in physics, or it's or it's something that's more special. And just saying it's flat, that covers all of that. It just renders all of that just like a fairy tale. And what does it mean? It means that whoever knows, like at the top, the echelons, the elites, we're under their thumb. We like Bob Marley said, man, it's like you've got to free your mind, because that's what they've got captured. They've got our minds captured. But the normies,
Yeah,
we're
I
under a
agree with
spell.
everything you're saying. It's just I already had this. I was born this way. I don't need a shape for that.
Yeah, but they're giving you a shape, and you can either suck it or deny it, like one of those two options. And if you're denying it,
Nope,
well, you can say,
neither.
well, I'm shape agnostic.
I question is what I do, because literally there's many questions I have that I'm still awaiting an explanation that doesn't sound like bullshit or feel like bullshit. Simple things. The wobble, the wobble, the inner wobble, no, dude, the resonance of like when you have, what is it, magnitude 7 earthquake or greater in 3 days on the opposite side or point of the earth, you have what is it called? Tremors, measurable, seismologically, etc. And how is that possible if the constituents of the inner planet is what the model says? There are lots and lots of questions. Not to mention Sedona effect. Um, yeah, way more questions than what we call ground, and what I've experienced from different location to different location.
Well, they haven't even
Certainly,
worked out yet why twins that are separated from different countries can experience like what's it called when one twin does something, the other twin can feel it or sense it. You know,
Oh
they
yeah, know
can't
it
explain that.
completely.
It's like, you know.
Yes, and a mother's intuition, and also some of us that are just freaking sensitive. And there's so many exceptions, for to a broad swath, label to work. Period. We're all individuals, obviously.